Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It is the Winter Meetings episode. It's not the wrap-up. It is the Winter Meetings are taking place right now in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got all the executives and agents and geeks that are down there and reporters, everyone. All the analytics people. It is quite the scene in Nashville for the Winter Meetings. We also have the San Fransisco Giants Mount Rushmore. Maybe I don't want to say it's the hardest one that we'll ever do, but it's the hardest one that we've done so far.
Impossible.
It's very, 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 very difficult.
There's gonna be some feelings hurt.
Yeah, there's going to be some upper echelon Hall of Famers that don't make the cut. Let's put it that way. So the San Francisco Giants Mount Rushmores today. Also the MVP breakdown segment with Jayhay. We are looking at the 2002 American League and National League MVPs. We've got some news and notes, and we've got some rumors to get into. So without further ado, there was a trade that went down last night. There was a big trade that went down last night. I wish we were on the air for it. We weren't. Yeah, I was itching to hit that breaking news button, but the Atlanta Braves have acquired Jarred Kelenic. Jeff Passan tweets, the Atlanta Braves and Seattle Mariners are in agreement on a trade that will send outfielder Jarred Kelenic, left-hander Marco Gonzalez, and first baseman Evan White to the Braves. To the Braves, Joe. Big deal for your Bravos. In exchange for right-handers Cole Phillips and Jackson Chourio. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Couple right-handers.
Fuck.
Going out, Jarred Kelenic coming in. Joseph, your thoughts on that?
I mean, you never like to see two of your guys go. You know, just two guys in the clubhouse every day. It's tough to see Cole Phillips and Jackson. It's not gonna be the same without Jackson Chourio in the clubhouse. But in exchange, we get a couple guys who got some upside. Kelenic has a lot of upside, probably just as much as anyone other than some people. But, you know, it just seems like the Mariners just don't want to pay any money, and the Braves will say, we'll have them. We'll pay money for these guys. What's so fucking funny?
Bro, you can't fucking what? Jay, tell me. Hey, he's got as much upside as anybody except for some other people. I think that about nails it with Kelenic.
Tell me I'm wrong. Refute that point.
No, that is spot on, man. I'm laughing because it's so fucking incisive and just
you can't refute it. It's
just accurate.
He has more upside than
I thought I was having a seizure. I thought I was.
Well, anyway, we got to the main point there at the end, which is that the Mariners don't want to pay these people money and basically traded Jarred Kelenic to make the other guys go away.
And he has a lot of upside.
I don't think that it was a salary dump, though. You wouldn't slap that label on the deal, would you?
Yeah. No, I absolutely would. Not Kelenic specifically. I think he is the piece primarily that Atlanta is receiving that makes it attractive for them.
Yeah.
But I think Seattle, at least, was viewing the White Gonzalez portion of the deal as salary ballast, basically, and people that they did not want to pay. Even if Atlanta's willing to pay Marco Gonzalez his contract coming up for this season, which was what, $10 million, I think it is.
Yeah.
Then,
I just got news.
What?
Braves do not plan on keeping left-hander Marco Gonzalez until the Athletic expected to be part of another deal. Destination.
Oh, another deal.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. So they paid to acquire Jarred Kelenic at the cost of these other guys. And I think Seattle either didn't want to pay these guys outright or cleared the salary room for a follow-up deal that we have not seen yet in terms of a free agency or a trade. That seems to be what's happening.
Is there something to like almost repackaging the same product but in a shinier box and now you feel like you can get a little something more for it? Like, does Marco Gonzalez coming to you from the Seattle Mariners get you as excited as a Marco Gonzalez coming to you from the Atlanta Braves? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and whoever was willing to play in that sandbox with the Mariners and the left-hander, like maybe you're just not getting the same attention. Maybe we're not going to play the same game. But now you put him in this different box, is this Atlanta Braves box, and what you might be willing to do, what the Braves might be willing to incite as far as a trade partner, or what they would be willing to go after, and what teams would be willing to give up for a Marco Gonzalez.
I know you're being funny, but I think there's something to the idea that not every team is going to be as allergic to paying Marco Gonzalez, and I $12.25 million is the exact number, are going to be as allergic to paying that number for one season of Marco Gonzalez as the Seattle Mariners were, because if you believe the reporting, there is a follow-up move to be made here for the Mariners, either to bring in a high-profile free agent or whatever, and maybe there was a time-sensitive element to them executing this transition in their mind. So they needed to clear this payroll off. That doesn't mean Marco Gonzalez is valueless, right, to other teams.
No.
So like, maybe it's not because he's wearing a Braves uniform, but that doesn't mean the Braves can't include him in another trade and make it worthwhile for themselves too.
Mm-hmm.
Marco Gonzalez last season, he made 10 starts.
And he got hurt.
He's 1 year removed from making 32 though, and with like a low 4 ERA. Yeah, I like Marco Gonzalez. I feel like he's a nice bounce back candidate somewhere. You look at 2019 to 2022, Marco Gonzalez had a 3.92 ERA. He had a 4.60 FIP, so we don't love that. A 1.24 WHIP. The strikeouts per 9, not super great, 6.3. But he's there. He's taking the ball.
Yeah.
He's averaging 26 starts per season since.
But he has a troubling injury people are worried about.
But it's like a risk-free transaction from that standpoint for the Braves, right? Either he is available as a back-end guy to soak up 20 starts for them, 15, 20 starts over the course of the regular season, or he's not, and you still hopefully got Kelenic, who is the whole point of the deal, really. Or if Gonzalez is not going to stay on the Braves, then that he fulfills that role for whoever acquires him. But Kelenic is obviously the interesting piece. He was a lot better last year than he'd been in his first two tastes.
Yeah, I've watched him. I have watched him over the last parts of 2 seasons, I guess, and he is as streaky of a player as a young player, I think, can be, an exciting young player can be. Because there were times where you just didn't think the dude was going to get out. And then there were times where you're like, look, you could take everybody's bat up there with you. You could take 9 of them. Feel free. Swing an oar. I don't care. You're not hitting anything. Good luck. And I think when you have a guy with his potential and his perceived ceiling, and you remove him from the responsibility of being the future of this franchise and being what this franchise was going to grow based on, pretty much like him and J-Rod. If Kelenic would have shown up and taken off before the J-Rod show, I'm not telling you that the J-Rod show still doesn't become what it is. I'm not telling you that at all. But I'm telling you that Jarred Kelenic is a much bigger player. He might be a 1A act to the J-Rod show if he lives up to the billing initially. Well, now that the responsibility of him having to save the franchise, one is off of his own shoulders, if J-Rod didn't obviously remove that from everybody's vision, now he can go to a place where none of that responsibility is on him, and he can just go and become the player that he feels he can still be, and that I think the Atlanta Braves feel like he can still be.
I think that's 100% true. I definitely, and it's not even like Kelenic, you can't even look at as a bust with the Mariners. Did he become what we thought he was going to be when he got to the big leagues? No, but you can easily just say not yet. Like, there's still plenty of time for him to reach his true potential.
But you have to call him a bust with the Mariners.
I mean, even in like before he got
dude, he
hurt,
was supposed to be a almost an instant stud, and he was abominable for the first 2 seasons that he tried to play.
They also rushed him to the big leagues, though.
That might be true.
No. Well, hold on. Remember how pissed off we were, though, about him not getting that opportunity right away. We were talking shit about the Bellevue Rotary Club because the front office guys well, this is why we're going to do this. So how you know what I mean? And to Jayhay's point, if Kelenic's a bust in a Mariner uniform, then that makes that front office individual look all the wiser, and it makes the move and the mechanics of keeping a guy down and suppressing his earning power makes it an obvious, like, why wouldn't you type business decision for everyone, right?
Well, sorry, go ahead, Jared.
I was just going to say, I think Kelenic is going to serve as one of those examples of like how confidence can kill you a little bit, because he was talking to some people in the baseball industry. They're like, Kelenic was one of the most confident minor leaguers that they've ever seen. And then once you get to the big leagues, and that's the first time that you struggle, because when you talk to like certain talent evaluators or player development individuals, they'll say like, yeah, like we want to keep a guy down in the minor leagues until we see him struggle to see how he comes back from that. And if you're Kelenic and you're just like, hey man, like I don't think this whole struggle thing's coming, it shows you like what it can do to a player if the first time that you actually struggle is in the big leagues.
The story on Jarred Kelenic overall in his major league career is probably pretty far from being written, but as it relates to his Mariners career, he was just moved in a deal to open up salary space.
Yeah.
That is a bust. He is a Mariners bust. And honestly, one of the bigger ones in recent memory. Like I'm looking at it right now, Major League Baseball's list, Baseball Prospectus, and Baseball America all had him as either the number 4 or number 6 prospect entering the 2021 season, and all of them had him as a top 12 prospect entering the 2020 season. So there's like no question about who this guy was supposed to be, and he was unplayably bad for his first 2 seasons and was fine last season. But his story with the Mariners is now written. I'm pretty excited to see him play for Atlanta. Just as a neutral fan, I want to see how that plays out. It seems like a good offensive environment for him.
He has the ultimate revenge. He can just his story with the Mariners might be technically over, but if he becomes a beast on the Braves, the Mariners look like the biggest fucking idiots of all time.
No,
like
question.
If you're a Mariners fan right now, are you excited about this? You feeling pumped?
No. You have to wait for the other shoe to drop.
We got we got money.
If they don't have a follow-up transaction, this is like an embarrassing deal. This is predicated on them bringing in somebody who matters with this salary space that they've opened up. Because remember, they also did the Suarez deal with Arizona.
They're going to go get another lefty? They're going to go get another lesty? Go get you a lesty. Go get you a lesty. Old Snellzilla going to show up in the Puget Sound. I mean, what's not to harp on the whole responsibility thing, and the chip on his shoulder can kind of, I don't want to say be removed, but he doesn't have to play the game in a way where he feels like he's playing for his life and the livelihood of an organization now. And I think I hope that really shines through in Atlanta.
Well, Double-A already said he's got to compete for a job with Vaughn Grissom and left.
For sure.
So there's going to be some pressure for Kelenic.
Well, there's nothing. That's a beautiful part about this.
Is the biggest at bats of the postseason last year. That's tough to live up to.
Just one at bat.
It's the biggest. He got fucked over.
There's a couple bad calls, if you remember correctly. I never saw a replay of the final check swing either, but whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. But
well, apparently Seattle got like $20 million off their payroll from this. I don't know if that's final because they are sending cash to the Braves, but that's like a lot of money. So hopefully, if you're a Mariners fan, if they don't use that to get someone good, you're just depressed.
There were a lot of requests from Mariner fans to open up the voicemails overnight. Can't do it. Won't do it. We have a higher standard here. But that just kind of goes to show you the reaction in Seattle. I mean, you go from a fan base that's thinking, man, we want to be in the mix for Shohei Ohtani. And then the reality is we need to salary dump Marco Gonzalez.
How about this, though? How about a compromise? If they go the whole offseason and just saved money, then you open up the phone lines.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what they do. What if
we open up the phone lines and they sign Blake Snell next week, we look like a bunch of assholes, and they look like assholes.
Yeah, you sometimes you gotta offload a Marco Gonzalez to bring in a Shohei Ohtani. That's just what you got to do.
Well, if the Braves are trading him, who says they don't trade back? Get him back. He's on the block.
That's true.
So the Mariners,
they could get Marco Gonzalez back.
Could be an interesting move.
Mm-hmm. Then the old bait and switch.
The old okey doke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the Braves trade him to. I think the Braves trade him to the Rays for Glasnow.
Oh wow. We just saw an update on Tyler Glasnow's trade market. I was going to put it on the rundown, but I decided against it because the only report that we had was that a lot of teams are interested, and it's like, cool. Yeah, all right. That's all fine and dandy. But what teams? Who is interested? Well, now we might know who is interested in a Tyler Glasnow.
Nashville, we're here at the 2023 MLB Winter.
Oh, what the fuck? All right.
No.
Shut up.
About a guy named Shohei Ohtani. It's Taylor McGregor, Bruce Levine. We'll be talking about Shohei, but also some other names. A lot of guys still in the trade market and the free agent market that the Cubs could potentially bring to Chicago. What are you looking forward to happening this week?
Well, let's start with the trade, Taylor. That's going to be Glasnow, and it's the pitcher that the Cubs need for this year. They have the farm system to get him. I think that's something that's going to happen. Yamamoto, the pitcher from Japan, probably he won't get signed till later in the week or a week from now, so he'll be talked about. But Bellinger is still a guy that the Cubs are interested in. Will he sign here? Doubtful. But these are some of the things that the Cubs are doing. I don't think they will be distracted by the fact that Shohei Ohtani is going to make his decision when he feels like it.
If the Cubs,
all right, you know what? Just listening to that, I don't feel confident in that report. He doesn't even know how to pronounce Yamamoto. I don't know. I mean, is Tyler Glasnow going to be traded to the Chicago Cubs? Sounds like he's very convinced of this. This was on Marquee Sports Chicago, whatever the fuck it's called. Bruce Levine is reporting it. But I think the most interesting note to come out of that is the Cody Bellinger stuff. Did you see that he's looking for $250 million fucking dollars? That's crazy. That's crazy. I love Cody Bellinger. I love him. But I love Flonase, love Cody Bellinger. But $250 million, dude? What the fuck? No way. There's only one team that would fork over $250 million for Cody Bellinger, and that's Brian Cashman and the New York Yankees. He is ready to do it. He's lining up. He's like, you know what? We did the whole Jacoby Ellsbury thing. We gave him $157 million in 2013 based off the season he had in 2011. He had one good year. And I'm not saying that Cody Bellinger only had one good year. He won an MVP award. But this is a bounce back year for Cody Bellinger. I know some folks have concerns about what's under the hood there. You look at the hard hit rate and the barrel rate and all that. It's, signing him up for $250 million. God bless him if it happens. I just don't know that after the nerds have infiltrated the game, if that's going to take place. I just don't see it happening. But God bless him if it does.
I mean, that is a staggering ask.
I laugh, but like what if he gets 175? Like that's still a fuck ton of money. I think he's going to be north of 150. But 250 is crazy. 250 is crazy.
Think about Correa. Correa just got that $200 million last offseason. Like, I don't think I'm laughing along with you guys at 250 because I don't think that's going to happen. And I think it would be a bad investment. But if you're from his perspective and his agent's perspective, I can kind of see how you would place your ask there.
If you compare what he did last year to his MVP season, what you think or what you see, I think lacking really, what
is
power?
Consistency? Well, it's consistency in the middle. Like, what about those years in the middle? Like, what makes me want to give you $250 million when, like, you're saying, hey, look at this year that I just had, and I'm saying, hey, but look at the fucking 3 years you had before that.
For sure, that's what I'm saying. But if you look at his last season right now, the 2023, where he got MVP votes, and then you overlook the gap and go to the MVP season in, what was that, 2019?
Yeah.
So, and you look at some of the, I would venture to guess that what we saw last year, and again, this is outside of his rookie year, what we saw last year and what we saw the MVP season, those are his two closest seasons in production. The two most similar seasons when we're talking about plus Cody Bellinger, good Cody Bellinger, what we got last year and what you got in his MVP campaign in 2019 are the two most similar seasons that he's produced that have been good. Outside of that gap you're talking about, 2020, 21, 22, like those collectively not good years. But the success he had in his 19 campaign as an MVP and what he did last year, to Jayhay's point about being able to see why they placed their ask there, is because you're almost going, hey, this isn't far off from what this dude was capable of and what we all saw. It just, Jarred, to your point, hasn't happened consistently. So why don't we start here? Because who's to say we didn't unlock something?
Well, I also think there's something about how he succeeded last season that some people are still a little bit skeptical about. Like, I know we talked about it on this pod, and when I said it, it sounded like somebody who was trying to explain away their bad Cody Bellinger prediction from the start of the season. But if you don't think that executives looking at whether to sign this guy up for $200 million or $150 million are looking at the fact that he had a lot of success without hitting the ball very hard overall last season, and certainly not nearly as hard as he hit the ball during his MVP campaign, then you're kidding yourself, because they're definitely looking at that stuff, and that's definitely under the microscope. And I know I saw the report or the analysis or whatever it was that he claims, or he said through somebody, that it was a change in two-strike approach where he was basically selling out to make contact in two-strike counts at basically all costs to power, and that was definitely a change in approach from previous seasons. That's great. If what's unclear is A, whether that's totally true, right? Whether that explains all of it, and B, how repeatable is that skill as he gets older and loses power overall? Like, I think I would love to have Cody Bellinger on my team for the next 3 to 5 seasons, and I'm fascinated to see how that, what looks to be a conscious change in approach, ages or adapts over time. But he's not the player that he was when he won the MVP. He's not really even that close, even if Dallas's point is true that those are his two most similar and really only good seasons.
Not that they're paying him $200 million for his defense, but where are you at on his defense? Like the ability to play first base, but also play outfield. Like how much of that factors in?
That's important. That's important. And this is why Cody Bellinger is going to be an interesting player to watch over the next 3 to 5 seasons, is because the game is transitioning or is leaving itself open to house players like Cody Bellinger and or maybe guys who are willing to make those two-strike adjustments, and they are willing to sacrifice power for ball and play, and you're starting to see good things happen. So maybe it's a matter of Cody Bellinger saying, look, I'm more than willing to cut down with 2 strikes. I'm more than willing to focus on putting the ball in play. And when I do, this is what I'm capable of. So to the idea that I'm not hitting the ball as hard, well, maybe it's because I'm not swinging as hard as often in every situation like I was prior. I'm now cutting my swing down. And the game is starting to transition back to valuing guys who are going to be able to put the ball in play consistently, because now we can start to create some offense around those guys. And I think that's maybe part of why Cody Bellinger is valuing himself and his camp is valuing himself the way they are, is because they're saying, if this is the type of player that he can be, well, then isn't this guy valuable to you right now? And I would say, I don't know that I'm ready to take that $150, $200 million flyer on him being that player right now. Show me this again, right? Show me this again, and then I think I'm interested.
But you know someone's going to do it. If your number is 150, there's definitely multiple teams that would give him close to that. I mean, close to probably 200.
I think 150 could be a great deal for a team. Like, I don't think this is a situation where you should be staying away from Cody Bellinger at all costs. He's entering his age 28 season. He's unusually young for a free agent. He has that going for him. He was legitimately good last year. He was a 5-win player, regardless basically of what war you're looking at. That is a very, very valuable player. He got MVP votes. Was it 2019? No, but he was one of the 10 or 15 most valuable players position-wise in the NL last season. That's enormously valuable. And if you're on the cusp of competing like the Yankees, I think they are in terms of that division, and I think they think they are, then Cody Bellinger, I think, makes a lot of sense. And you're not necessarily going to get burned on a 6 or 7 year deal the way you would with a guy who's age 32 when you're signing him or something like that.
Why do I see him going to like the Rockies doing what Chris Bryant did? Just signing a fucking mega deal with some shit team and they're never going to be good, but he's just chilling with 250, baby.
Dude, I gotta think Boris. He's got more left in the tank than Bryant had at that time. I know it's a little bit of hindsight, but
how much did he get? How much did Chris Bryant get?
No, he got like 152. I think you're like right on the money with his.
I thought he got
something very close to that. 172 maybe.
186? Did I?
186?
182. 7 years, 182.
Look, I mean,
I think that's a terrible contract now, right? Like, if we're just calling it what it is, we don't have to be pro player all the time. I don't.
Do those 3 years in between, though, do those 3 years not give you any pause whatsoever?
100%. Maybe little. 100%, but that's why he's not getting $40 million a year. And we're probably talking like he's getting $25 or $27 million a year or something. Like, dude, also, not only do the 3 years in between give me pause, he wasn't like, you're talking about how he adjusted or we're talking about how he adjusted and like the game values those type of players. The dude hit 307 last year. In his MVP year, he hit 305. He just did it with 100 more points of slugging. Like, it's not like he was a 240 hitter in his MVP season. He just hit fucking 50 bombs and won the MVP. Like, he was the athletic all-around specimen back then too, and was putting the bat to the ball then, just with more power. So that's like, yeah, go ahead.
How many homers did he hit last year?
26.
25, 30? Okay.
26. Yep. He hit 47 in his MVP season. He's really much more like the player he was before that MVP breakout, like when he was like won Rookie of the Year and had a really good follow-up campaign than he is.
So do you take, that's kind of where I was going with that, is what player are you expecting? What player are you willing to take or willing to receive, I guess? Cody Bellinger, who was that player before his MVP season, and you get 5 years of that guy or 7 years of that guy. Are you okay with that? Or do you take 1 year, maybe 2 years of what you got from Bellinger last year, and then you get those other 3 years in between at the back end of that deal? Are you okay with that? Because that's where the giving pause comes into play for me is, all right, we've seen really 3 seasons of what this player looks to be. 2.5, COVID doesn't count. So I need to see this again. That's why I almost like, oh man, I hesitate at the super long extended deal. Maybe I shorten it up and there's an option early in there for me as a team. I got to protect myself here because I don't know that I can make that long of a commitment.
Well, tell me what the AAV is.
I mean, it's probably
27.
I was going to say 25 to 27, 25, 28 maybe, because I want him to be comfy with the option that I'm trying to
Well, the age is what makes me feel optimistic about it. Like, I think if he were going into his age 31 season next year, then I have a little more pause about that. Well, but
my outlook is boom on after he's age 30 season is where we are as an organization in the driver's seat here, because we've gotten a good look at these first 2 seasons, and then coming out of our age 30 season, what does it look like now? Who is this player? We've probably got a really good idea.
Would anybody like to do a little friendly bet? I think maybe a little over under on his number or something like that. I'm interested in taking. I think he's going to get at or near. I don't think the number is going to be far off from 200 million at the end of the day.
I've got 180 in my head
because I think the 140, 150 talk is going to end up looking very low. I think that's what it would look like in a market of like one team. And I think there's more than one team interested in him. And I think there's more than one team with some spending heft.
You guys are talking like 7-year deals.
27 for 7 is 189.
Whoa, good shit.
So somewhere in the 180 to 190 region, which would line up with what Jayhay is saying, like in the 200 neighborhood.
Man, I just don't know that I see him getting that. I feel like it's a shorter deal. With, like I said, with
Boris.
Oh, he's Boris? Yeah, fucking, yeah. All right, I'm taking the over on 180.
I think this is cash-in opportunity. I don't think Cody Bellinger is setting himself up to go back on the market.
No.
And I think he's going to have enough suitors where he doesn't have to take, some sort of.
I agree.
Dallas, hold on.
I agree with what you're saying.
Remember Carlos Correa's initial deal last year?
Mm-hmm.
He settled for the Twins offer, which was, what was it, 7 and 210 or something like that?
Jesus Christ. MLB trade rumors has him getting 12 years for $264 million.
Let's get it.
Dude, think about the contracts that were handed out to the shortstops last year.
What the?
Yeah.
Think about the deal that Xander Bogaerts just got. Was Xander Bogaerts coming off a better platform season for free agency entering last season than Cody Bellinger is this season?
No.
I believe Cody Bellinger is also younger than Xander Bogaerts was at the time. Now Xander plays shortstop. I get that. Cody's got the
Padres were also on meth last winter.
Okay, but that number was $300 million.
It was
it or 280
for 11?
280 for 11. Okay. So you dial that back and we could still be talking about $240 million.
12 years? Does he even want to play baseball 12 years from now?
I'm not even sure.
Is he going to be able to breathe
I'm not even sure that's
12
the point. Dude, I don't even think that's the point with some of these deals. You keep that AAV
22.
low.
AAV's $22 million. If he gets $264 million for 12 years, it's 22.
No, we've all understood now that the extended contracts is about like you'll wear it on the back end if that's basically just buying yourself an opportunity to keep the AAV low in a certain window where you feel like we can really win here.
I mean, are these teams banking on releasing these players when they're fucking like 38 years old?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is like, you're more than willing
in
to look at years 37.
$22 million is going to be like $5 to us. Who gives a shit?
That's exactly right, Jared. That's exactly right. The last 2 years of Bellinger's contract, they're going to be like, well, okay, so we got to pay the peanut vendors. We got to pay Bellinger. What else we got to do? We do light bulbs. Okay, what else? Like it's just. Like, it's not going to be a fucking thing, whatever. All good. And they're doing that so that they can compete right now in 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.
That is what they're doing. That is.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And
they're
you know
giving these players retirement plans so that they can buy their best years for cheap.
Tenure. They are literally signing them, and they've been doing it for a while. They're just handing over tenure. Here is 10 years, and I mean TENURE, and I mean TENYEAR. Tenure and tenure. Boom, here you go.
That must be such a great feeling to just know that you're just that good. You're, and I don't mean like talent wise, like life wise. You're good.
A decade. Here's a decade.
You know what you're doing. You don't have to worry for fucking 12.
And
here's
where
you're going to be at.
Yeah.
Can you really blame Anthony Rendon after all we just talked about?
No. I mean, that deal sucks.
Guys like you still want me to wake up? I'm still going to wake up?
I was just going to say, Jay,
because still want fucking $37 million. Like, that's not even
Anthony Rendon's on some real Yeah, he's on some real scam shit.
Yeah, he's on some irresponsible shit. He's that's not even a deal to keep the AAV down. It's just like, here's a lot of years, here's a lot of money. And don't play. Don't show up.
No,
piss everybody
The Angels
off.
were like, wait, how do you operate this scam? Oh, oops.
Fuck.
God damn it. We did it again.
I will never be able to look at him other than like, all right, is like you walk into a trophy hunter's like room and there's this head on the wall and you're like, the year we needed pitching. That's right.
Yeah.
We got Anthony Rendon.
We whiffed on Garrett Cole. Give me Anthony Rendon for $38 million a year.
Yeah, it's crazy. You look back on the Angels years with Shohei and Trout, and you look at those teams like, who got paid more, Trout or Ohtani? No, it was actually Rendon. Highest paid player in the Angels.
Yeah, I love Rendon for that. Just he's the king of mailing it in.
He'll be good next year. He'll be good next year.
He'll be back. I told Max that I wanted to call him for the show today. And he said, just give me a minute heads up. And I was like, no, I'm just this is not how this works. Like, we'll call you when we need you. Like, this is not like, oh, hey, put Max in the queue for 60 seconds. No.
Chill, he's at winter meetings, dude. He's doing work.
Is he at winter meetings? I don't think he is.
Yes.
He is?
He's negotiating deals.
I don't think he is.
All right, we got to take a quick break from our Winter Meetings episode to bring you a word from our sponsor. Baseball may be finished, but there's a new season to be happy about, the holidays. And the beer that was perfect for baseball is also the perfect match for a brighter holiday. From its bold, refreshing flavor to its beautiful, bright color, Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian-style wheat ale is made brighter for the holidays. The Blue Moons were flowing on Thanksgiving. I'm sure they'll be flowing on Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever you want to celebrate. Make sure you have a Blue Moon with you. Drinking Blue Moons during the holidays, waiting for Ohtani to sign, waiting for Yamamoto to sign. That's my favorite way to enjoy a nice cold Blue Moon, and that's how you should do it too. Blue Moon Brewing Company beers are made brighter as the perfect complement to the holiday season. From Blue Moon Belgian White's refreshing flavor, to Light Sky's real tangerine peel taste, to Moon Haze's juicy burst of flavor, the whole crowd will be reaching for the bright stuff this holiday. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian-style wheat ale is a beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. The season should be merry and bright, so Blue Moon is a perfect match for the holidays. The crack of a beer, the pour, the first sip of that bold flavor, Blue Moon always feels like a special occasion. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color, a beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all through the holidays. Brighten up the holidays with a beer that's made brighter. Get Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian-style wheat ale, Light Sky, and Moon Haze delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket for delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
Did you see my Babe Ruth tweet, Dallas?
I choose not to. Yeah, I saw it, you dick.
I put it this way. I irritated the internet twice with the same tweet about Babe Ruth, which blows my mind every single time. Like, out of all the is Babe Ruth fucking hacking away with his dog shit swing and his telephone-sized baseball bat with his unathleticism. And I just said Babe Ruth wouldn't make a D3 college baseball team today. And that got 3.9 million views and 1.2 thousand replies. And then the next morning I woke up and I quote tweeted that tweet and I said, nothing makes middle-aged men lose their minds on the internet quite like insulting Babe Ruth, a player who none of them actually witnessed play baseball, not a single one of them. That got 1.1 million views and 846 replies. Why are people so passionate about defending this guy? It's crazy to me. Like, these people, first of all, the first tweet, Dallas, I've been running this shtick for 7 years at this point. I hate Babe Ruth. I think he sucks. I think he would absolutely suck today. All the people that are like, oh, but he would have, modern training methods. You think this fat piece of shit that was drinking beers and eating hot dogs and smoking cigars and fucking prostitutes in dumpsters, you think that dude would be at API in the offseason? No fucking chance. Like, yes, training methods exist. No. His work ethic was ass.
Hey, that doesn't mean that whatever he was doing to be able to get up for the ball game doesn't mean he wouldn't be able to find a way to do that today as well.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
He would not last today, and I stand. Obviously, a lot of people did agree, but it was probably like 70-30 disagree, and I will never understand how so many people that never saw this man actually play baseball could defend him so passionately. And I get it. The flip side is, well, how do you think that he would? Because I see today's baseball. I can defend today's baseball because I watch today's baseball. And then I see clips of Babe Ruth and I'm like, this guy, there's no fucking chance that this guy would be good at baseball today. No chance. None.
How much do you think he gets on the open market? Right
Babe
now?
Ruth? Babe Ruth doesn't even make a
20.
fucking intramural team at a fucking D3 college. He just doesn't. He doesn't. I'm sorry, Dallas. I know. Yeah, you fucking.
I'm not having this conversation with you right now. I don't
want to have the conversation. That was a throwaway tweet that for some reason made the internet very angry. And these people give me too much power. These people that fall for it, hook, line, and sinker every single time. These are people that work in public places that could impact our lives. These people work in hospitals. These people could be jurors on a very important case. That's how many dumb people are out there. It's scary. It's a scary world that we live in, that I can just do that and boom, the internet burns to the ground. Because no pun intended, because Babe Ruth killed his wife in a similar fashion. But that's what happens anytime that you talk about this guy. They want for whatever reason to defend a man that they never actually saw play baseball in video or in person. There's no video of him playing in games. There's like, you know what?
That's debatable.
There's not.
Joseph.
Could argue there is.
There's not. There's no game footage of Babe Ruth. There's just not. There's always like him taking batting practice or whatever. Like there's no like full game footage of Babe Ruth. There's just not.
There is.
There's not. There's not.
Watching some of it right now. Just search Babe Ruth highlights. There's
it's
10
religion.
minutes of it.
It's literally religion. It's like, all right, I read about it, so I believe it. I just have to believe that this is true. Did you see it?
It's because you essentially, Jarred, were brought up in a foreign country when it comes to Babe Ruth. You were raised reading a completely different textbook, right?
That's not true.
That's very true.
Great he was. No, it's not.
That's very. Yeah, I think it is. You become indoctrinated.
Just because he got his first fucking bout with chlamydia in Boston doesn't mean that we weren't told about how good at the game he was. How the fuck does anyone actually know?
Everybody knows.
Yeah, because he played when fucking ground rule doubles were home runs. He did. He played during that time. He played when they used to leave your glove on the field. Like, so the other guy that's going to go play left field, like he's going to go play with that glove. He was playing against mechanics, guys that had second job. Like Babe Ruth, if he played today, would not have a fucking chance. I would love to see him against Duran, the Twins. He would shit his pants. He'd be like, what is wrong with that guy? That guy has demon powers. There's like, put on the YouTube channel. If I'm going to give you a demonstration of what the fucking pitchers do that Babe Ruth pitched against.
How do you know? There's no video, I thought.
That's who he was fucking hitting against.
How do you know?
There's no fucking way. There's no way he would perform today. No chance.
All
Sorry.
right.
Completely different game.
I'll bite. Go ahead. It doesn't.
Why?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how he would perform against today's athlete because you know what? They would all fail. And I stopped caring about that particular thing when I heard Barry Larkin, who played primarily in the early and the mid and late 90s, say after he retired that he was so thankful that he didn't have to face pitchers in like 2014 that were pitching because he said he would have no fucking chance. That was Barry Larkin, Hall of Famer, saying that about like basically one generation of pitcher or a half generation of pitcher removed from his playing career. None of those guys. That's true of every single sport. You think if Bill Russell or George Mikan were trotted out onto the court against fucking LeBron or some of these younger players in the game now, that they would have any chance? No, they're just fucking ACLs and knee, like everything would just snap. Their backs would just.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, because now you're talking about the shot clock. Like, these players were great when they didn't have a shot clock. These players were great when they didn't have a 3-point line. These players were.
Go back and look at highlights from the early 90s of the NBA. The early 90s, which is like, for some people, like, you better not say anything bad about the early 90s or the late 80s when it was like Bird and Magic. It looks like people playing in fucking molasses. They're playing like it's preposterous that it's almost not even the same sport as what's being played right now. And that is in no way a condemnation of the current product. It's like it's two totally separate classes of athlete. But can we go down this rabbit hole, Jayhay, you and I, real quick, about the Bird played with like a back brace.
How about the physicality, though? Physicality in basketball, late 80s, early 90s compared to today?
But here's the thing.
Different ball games, right? Different ball games. You give me that?
Yes. But here's the tangent that nobody wants us to do right now, is that you can say that it was more physical, but that's just in a sense of the paint was all packed together. So when you would drive to the paint, you would just run into lots of bodies.
To a lane.
You know what's very difficult to do defensively? Guard the entire fucking half court, because everybody in the game can make a 3-pointer right now. So you have to cover literally twice as much room defensively as you used to have to do while guarding better athletes. That's what's tough defensively. And that's talking NBA defense over the eras for you.
But everybody's long, and you can defend the arc now from the fucking free throw line. So
Victor Wembanyama's 7'4" and hitting 3-pointers in the middle of the game and can block your shot from the paint. Like,
I would hate to see him against fucking Pistol Pete Maravich, huh?
Yeah, Pistol Pete Maravich dribbling around with his tight ass shorts.
Yeah, that's why I don't fucking bite on the argument with this asshole about Babe Ruth, is because there's just two different worlds. If you're showing up in a league where everybody's doing the fucking whirly bird when they're throwing the ball home and everybody's using a fucking telephone pole, well, Babe Ruth was the best dude in that league, and that is what it is. He didn't have to work out. He didn't need to do push-ups. He could go, you know what I'm saying? He could go entertain.
Ty Cobb would also eat his bat now instead of getting hit. You know what I mean? Like, it's all the same.
Yeah.
They were all in the offseason going and working on their own like farms or their own like machinery, like factories or whatever. It's just like they were all part-time people, essentially. Babe Ruth's part-time was just fucking banging and drinking and like marauding around. Props to him. Instead of working.
He was a real life, like, you win a raffle, you get to hang out with this dude. And so he just fucking strolled around. People bought his food. People bought his booze. He bought people. He was the first athlete to make more money than the president of the United States of America. Just wrap your head around that. That's who Babe Ruth was.
Yep. Max, how do you feel about Babe Ruth? Do you think Babe Ruth is an individual that if you just plucked him out of 1918 and dropped him down in 2023 that he would be good at baseball?
That's how cold the stove is right now. We're doing Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on record saying this. I think he's a modern day, I don't know, Cole Calhoun, maybe.
Cole Calhoun. All right, fair enough.
Who was like, he was good on the Angels for a little bit.
I think I met him golfing one time. I'm pretty sure I did.
Was he nice to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was not. I think he wasn't that nice over here, I think.
No, he was nice to me.
But dude, if Cole Calhoun played back then,
that's a good call.
It'd be like a fucking softball league.
Well, that's what MLB was back then.
Oh. Cole Calhoun in the 30s, like, he's the face of like baseball cards. And, like,
Cole Calhoun.
People would tell their kids about Cole Calhoun.
Yeah.
What? No. Yeah. Could you imagine taking a guy like Glenn Allen Hill? Drop Glen Allen Hill back then. The dude's hitting balls on the fucking apartment buildings in Chicago before it was ever popular. You plant him back in those days, and he's just annihilated, hitting baseballs 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
1,000 feet.
Cole Calhoun, like, he'd have the best, they'd call him like the spicy ginger bat or something. Like, he would have the coolest old nickname of like all time. He'd be the face of baseball. And he probably wouldn't kill his wife.
That's true. The Reach Max.
The much more interesting question is what would happen if you took somebody like, let's say, Jarred, and put him back in the game in like 1917. Like,
oh my God, I would
what does that look like?
You
would not dom. You would not dominate.
No.
They are, Jayhay, they're throwing 60 miles an hour.
Hey, stop it. Because look, this is the first time in our relationship you have ever realistically projected yourself as being a viable option at the major league level.
In the early 1900s?
I don't care.
I'm in better physical shape than 98% of big leaguers during that time.
Oh, my God.
I can hit a 60 mile an hour fastball, and I know to put it in the air. They didn't want to hit home runs back then. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna lose the baseball. We can't afford another one."
Because they were playing with fucking ball bearings from warships in fucking World War II, Jarred.
That's what I would be like. Sorry, hit another fucking home run. That's not my problem. Go buy another one, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I am definitely stronger and in better physical condition than 98% of Major League Baseball in 1910. I think.
Now you're shaving a decade off. It was 1917,
1920, 1910. Doesn't matter. I would get fucking MVP votes if I played MLB.
You're not battling like cholera and stuff like they were back then. So in that sense that you're healthier and probably more robust. But we just got done talking about like how half these people had off-season jobs where they're like tending to their own farmland and like working the machines. Like they weren't all just like flabby boozy losers. Like some of them were,
most of them had alcoholism issues.
Some of them were hardened boozers.
Yes.
Right? Not everybody was a flabby boozer. And so I think you have to take into consideration that a lot of the best players were more of the hardened variety, and not all of them were fat, like you see images of Babe Ruth. Mm-hmm. Did Jimmy Fox strike you as particularly fat?
Was Double X the guy that was just fucking slugging along? Huh?
Lou Gehrig looked fucking fat to you, dude.
The Iron Horse? The Iron Horse. You got some schlub?
I didn't say I would be the best player in the league. I said I would get MVP votes. Which is true. I didn't say I'd be the best player.
That's pretty close.
I would just be in the conversation. I'm not the best. I'm just in the conversation.
You're like a Bellinger,
like a Bellinger type.
I would be like a Rendon.
Wait,
in 2019. 2019.
That was
brother,
what did he
can you
finish
imagine Rendon?
Rendon?
If Rendon had to go against Spanish influenza, like there's no shot.
Right. What was that? That was 19. That was 1918, I think.
Like he finished third in the MVP.
There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I would peak at third. I'm sure I would have 1 year where I got the hang of it. Like,
Jarred would be like the first player announcer, I think.
Yeah,
like in the 20s.
Like, I finally figured out Henry Herky Jerk's curveball.
The first ever mic'd up, that would be you.
Yeah. My favorite thing about what Jarred's saying about elevating the ball and stuff too is I love that the dude whose nickname is literally Home Run Baker led the league with 12 homers.
12 home runs. So
Home Run Baker back. That was 1913.
I don't think I would have a tough time making an all-star team back then is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. What if they put you in polo grounds? No way, no shot.
Well, yeah, I'm not that fast, but I would hit some doubles for sure. That's why I said Rendon.
Okay. Oh, okay. They call him Mr. Doubles, I think.
Okay. Yeah, they would call me Donnie Doubles.
Yeah, you'd probably be you'd be slipping in the mud. The ball, like the rawhide of the ball or whatever is going to be fraying, and you're not going to know what to do with that. Yeah, it's.
I would break Cy Young's record because they'd be
no
like, wait a second,
in the clubhouse.
You're allowed to throw faster than 60? What? I feel like they just didn't know mechanically how to even throw a baseball back then. They're like, wait, so we don't have to do the Bugs Bunny thing where we fucking wave our arm in the air for 20 seconds before we throw it? Like, you're trying to deke me out or something? Like deception was a bigger part of the game than velocity. Like, I could go up there and chuck 71 up there and they'd be like, wow, what are you, a wizard?
You caught me in an indulgent mood. How fast can you throw?
My fastball to Alex Bregman was 82 miles an hour.
That was exit velocity off the bat.
No, it wasn't.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That works for an answer. How many times do you think you could throw 80 miles an hour consecutively in a game?
I mean, if I was I could probably do it for like I probably couldn't hit over 80 consistently at this point in my life. No, but
right, so we're really talking about you throwing
75 to 77 is still 15 miles an hour faster than what they're used to. Like imagine me coming in right now and throwing 110 in the big
back
leagues.
Then
they did.
They weren't.
Oh, they were.
I don't feel like they were.
No, they weren't.
What, 50 miles an hour?
They were throwing pretty good, and the balls had fucking
why have
tobacco
you guys entertained this?
They're black balls.
Why do you think Walter Johnson was such a big deal? It was because he was the only guy that could throw harder than 63.
Dude, Walter,
because he was a fucking mountain of a man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure they've confirmed Walter Johnson was throwing 90 plus miles an hour.
Yes.
Right. He was the exception to the rule. That's why he was so great. Everyone was like, what the fuck?
He was great. Illegal? I don't think he was I don't think he was throwing 35 miles an hour faster than the other guys.
Mm.
Do you think he ever would have given up a run if that was the case?
Yes.
I'm just picturing the Chattanooga Red Braves watching Jarred's film, like from MLB Network when he was like sitting at the pool and in the cages, and like all those guys just like mechanics during the day watching film. They're like, this kid is outrageous. Like, how are we going to get him out? Like, there's no way.
That's probably what they were thinking if they ever saw the film. Like if they saw the.
I mean, if they had film back then, I don't know if they did or not.
I think that they had film, but it was in like Nickelodeons, right? You had to like go look at them like flip books almost
in the theater.
Yeah.
Jarred's sidling up to Ty Cobb in the dugout and being like, "Hey, did you see my tweet?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how. So Kelenic. Like, we just said, fuck that, huh? And just said, let's talk about Jarred playing.
Well, I mean, we've been podcasting for about an hour. Yeah, we did.
You guys are cooking already? Okay.
Yeah, we Ben had cooking. There were some Shohei Ohtani rumors. So I threw, speaking of tweets that I threw out there, I was just bored pissing people off this weekend. I just had nothing else going on. But I threw a tweet out there, and I wanted to debate it with you here as a representative of the Angels fan base, because obviously, like, all you guys got butthurt about what I said. I mean, you responded to it. I said, not that I think it's going to happen, but Shohei Ohtani going back to the Angels would be the worst thing to happen to the game of baseball since the strike in '94.
All right. Well, like, again, the comparison I put it in is like, again, I have the hottest girlfriend in the league. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants her. Mm-hmm. Everybody says, don't go back to Max. And then here you are saying, like, not that I want them to get back together, but if they did, that would be really lame. And, you know, a couple things on Shohei where I think a lot of people are starting to change their tune, because like where they've bet on, yeah, he's leaving. Now they're like, fuck, I don't know yet. It's getting kind of down to the wire, even though it's not really down to the wire of like if he's staying or leaving. Now even I'm confused. Right? Where like, I'm like, what the fuck? I thought, you know, you cleaned your locker or this, that, whatever. And it like brought me to a couple points of like, it wasn't the number one story this offseason on like how to build a team. Everyone's like, oh, the Texas Rangers, Cowboy, like that's just how you build a team, draft and 2 billion players, like 500 million players. Like, weren't people praising that? And then a team is just going to immediately do the opposite and just be like, yeah, no, fuck that strategy that everyone's sucking off. We're going to just pay him, which I think he's worth, but you're just going the other way when everyone's saying this is the gold standard of how to build a team and go like Chris Young or whatever. And like, secondly, it wasn't his main motivation. Like, I just want to win, right? So then if collectively all 30 teams are like, all right, well, the most we're going to offer you is like $15 million. how bad do you want to win? Like, what are we negotiating here? How is he not just on Google best winning percentage since 2015 and then pick the team that comes at the top? How has he not just done that? What are we still waiting for?
So you're saying he's going to the Angels, right? That was the thesis on that?
That whole summary is like, yeah, because if he hasn't put those two together and just been like, hey, which team has won the most? I'm going there. He hasn't done that yet. So where is he going?
I'm sold, Angels.
If he goes,
is he just house shopping? And he's like, no, I like this house, but this one has 2 bathrooms and this one has 7. Like it wasn't the main thing. Is like he only cares about winning. Then go to the highest percentage team that's won the most.
Max. The problem there, Max, is the house that he's been shown in Anaheim has looked much like the Winchester Mansion. It's fucking doors that lead to nowhere. It's staircases that aren't finished that lead to nowhere. There's a lot of open-endedness. There's a lot of roadblocks and dead ends that have led Shohei Ohtani to the free agent market.
If he re-signs with the Angels, it is the most disappointing and devastating free agent decision by a player for what I would describe as a neutral baseball fan in the history of free agency. There's no question.
100%. So I'm not wrong. Was my tweet dramatic, Jayhay, or am I kind of right?
I think you're closer to right than wrong. Like you could probably debate whether the Astros, the whole cheating scandal is worse for baseball than a single player's free agency decision. But if we're talking about player transactions, I think it would be the most devastating single player decision that we've seen in the free agency era, which is, 4 decades old or 5 decades old now.
So are you guys okay with them just any other of the 27 teams? Like you guys are okay. It doesn't matter. Like if it's the Cubs, you guys don't care. Like that wouldn't.
I mean, the Cubs are substantially closer to fielding a playoff product or a World Series product than the Angels are, and it's not even close. Both by virtue of the division they play in and the roster and farm system that they have.
And the Cubs
is massive.
Okay, there's a gap there. I'll give you that. But then between like the Cubs and the Dodgers, like how big is that gap?
I mean, that's probably another substantial gap. Yes. But I mean, so what we're really talking about is that the Angels are multiple deviations away from some of their competitors for this.
Yeah, they are among the lowest tier of team that he could play for or go to and have any sort of impact. It's not going to happen.
The only other teams that would be comparable in terms of disappointment or irrelevance or deflating for a baseball fan are teams that are not really in the market for Shohei Ohtani because they're just like, they're so far away or they don't spend. Like, we're not seeing the Rockies or the Guardians go and get Shohei Ohtani for obvious reasons because they never do those sorts of things. But like, outside of those, of the teams that are listed as viable options in this bidding for Ohtani at this stage, the Angels are so much more disappointing than the other options for anybody who cares about the game other than Angels fans.
Yeah, thanks. That's not the point I was trying to get to, but yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think.
Well, I was just saying.
I think we helped you more than hurt you in that.
It's disappointing. No, I know, but so if he goes there, like, what if it's just like, what's the lowest playoff barrier team, not the Angels, that he can go to that it would be disappointing?
Well,
like,
the dollar signs are going to tell us that, Max. The dollar signs. The dollar signs.
Money wasn't a motivator. That's very, very confusing here, where he says money isn't a motivator, and then we're having bidding wars. Like, what are we bidding about? Like,
well, I mean, dude,
he should just live at the stadium.
He's in line to make $500+ million. To say, no one's pretending that the money doesn't matter, but maybe it doesn't matter to the degree where he's going to go take the Angels $600 million who blow ass versus like the Cubs or the Dodgers $575. Like, that's probably what we're talking about here. It's not like he's not taking $170 million to go play for any of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of holding up our, shopping anyway. So it's like,
no.
He's really
brother. Are you going or you staying? Like, what are we doing? I got to add the cart. I got freaking I got Tim Anderson in the cart. Can I check out or like do we wait?
Go ahead, check out. Go ahead.
Go ahead and check out.
Hey, you know what? Actually,
But they got
a spot just opened up in self checkout. Max, the spot just opened up in self checkout.
Okay.
Go ahead and take care of that.
You should be closing any deal that comes across your table if you're the Angels.
And
With or
I don't know
without.
if you guys are going
Holding
to
it
do a
up.
report card episode. Like if there's a report card episode down the line, like I could just do the Angels now. It's just ask.
Yeah, probably.
'Cause I don't know any move that they can make that would make an Angels fan feel anything.
No.
Like normal headed Angels fan, you know what I mean? Not there's people that are going to say like, oh, fucking Adam Kolarek.
No, this-
ooh. Like,
No, Max,
hey.
you're not. You don't want to hear this, but really, being an
No, I do,
Angels
I do.
fan is more about thinking about the fans of the other 29 teams at this point. And I think you guys just need to. No, it is because Max, you just
Max.
said there's no outcomes that would satisfy you or Angels fans. So if we operate
I know,
off of
but
that
I'm
premise,
thinking, like-
let's try and satisfy some other
Jay-
people. And that means
and
getting
Jay-
Mike
I don't
Trout
wanna
the
get-
fuck off that team. And it means Shohei
Oh, like
Ohtani
it-
not signing with the Angels.
We'll give you Marco Gonzalez
Yeah.
and
Bang.
Travis
Oh,
Darnell.
yeah.
And
Oh,
Jay,
well,
I don't want to tell you to back down here because you are well versed in this as well. But I think I got a pretty good handle on what it feels like to see some of your favorite players come and go. So Max, let me explain to you how this is going to go. Okay. The next few years, or at least the remainder of Mike Trout's contract, however long that stays in Anaheim, these years are going to be spent reflecting on what could have been, what wasn't, and then ultimately coming to terms with the reality of what will never be. And that's a tough spot to be in as a fan, Max. It's a tough spot to be in, but that is your reality. That is exactly where you are at right now. Things aren't going to change in the foreseeable future. That's all part of the hope that we latch onto at the beginning of April, is because we're all tied for first place. And Max, that will be the case for you on opening day. I don't know how long that's going to last, but that will at least be the case before first pitch. But this is the tragedy of being a fan of an organization in a situation like this. And as Jayhay said, all you can now start to brace for, all you can now start to prepare for are the potential landing spots of these quality human beings that you have worked hard to cheer for. That's where your mindset starts to shift, Max. So things are going to be a little different around the Big A, but that's kind of how it's going to go.
I got cut out.
Yeah.
Still yelling at me.
Dallas was cooking, but I think the premise was
You're still
You're fine.
all your favorite players are gonna be gone soon.
No, and like I know that like sucks, right? As an Angels fan, and like not to get personal or anything, but like there's a kid in like Cleveland or something that just has like almost in the same spot, but just with like a closet full of like J-Ram jerseys instead of like Trout jerseys. And like that's the peak of his, like you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, a kid.
Sorry, I'm lashing out. I'm lashing out.
Yeah, you are lashing out. But at the end of the day, I wanted to get the finger on the pulse over there because I'm not on the West Coast, and Angels fans, for the most part, anytime that I come across them on Twitter, they're always angry and they never want to talk about baseball. They just want to yell about baseball. Do Angels fans actually think that Shohei is coming back? Where is the percentages on how they feel about this?
Yeah, no, I think any topic ever Angels related ever in the history of topics is 51-49. There's nothing ever lopsided. There's nothing ever. This is right down the middle. And right now, frankly, like the worst time in, baseball Twitter is just like fake Jeff Passan accounts tweeting out he resigned, fake graphics coming out, he's going here, and Angels Twitter, they're just like the same as every other, screenshotting fake account fan base. Like, but it just so happens that we have the most intriguing free agent of all time who has left the door open, but didn't leave the door open, but is using the Angels to just raise the price. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And the pulse is, even if he does come back, like things still look bleak.
Yeah.
But the reality of like him not coming back, like I said, what are we going to look like in 2024? Like, who's the opening day starter? Who's coming back? Who's going to help this team just be competitive? And if you're telling me we have a long 2024 of not fun games and not, we're just fucking BP for the Astros, then that's not going to be a fun year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought that it was delusional that Angels fans actually still thought that they had a chance at Shohei, but then over time you start to see these, people start popping up and they're like, I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds. Like maybe he, when you hear all these reports about how, he doesn't want to be in a market where he can't even walk down the street because, he's basically he's a one-man Beatles everywhere he goes. And he doesn't want that. It's like, well, I don't know that at this point of his career, he can go anywhere where that's not going to be the case. Like he's Shohei Ohtani. Like it's like, where do you think you're going to go that you can't walk down? You can walk down the street and people aren't going to be like, holy fuck, it's Shohei Ohtani.
Oakland.
The one thing about LA, Jared, and this is, you talk to players there, man. And I mean, I've seen it. If you're in a Dodger uniform and you are the best player on that team, and you're there for a 10-day homestand, there's a solid chance that 7 out of the 10 days there, you're not the coolest person walking around in your clubhouse just because of the star power that finds their way into the clubhouse. Celebrities, for whatever reason, right? Like you might just roll up and Snoop Dogg might be out there taking fucking BP.
Well,
like actually, that just might be a thing.
Someone just told me a story about how they were going to hit. And then they go in there and Mookie was like, he's like, yeah, I got a friend coming in to watch me hit today. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. And the friend was Lil Wayne, just like walked in and was watching Mookie Betts take batting practice. So I get it. The LA thing checks out where you could be famous.
I don't think Shohei gives a fuck, dude. He's been fucking famous since he was 17, famous in Japan to a level that baseball players here aren't. Like he's been fucking famous. He doesn't give a shit about that. I don't know who said that.
He knows how to handle that. He knows how to deal with that. Like there's so many that's again, we start to get into who's willing to entertain what comes along with Shohei because there are so many layers of insulation before you get to the dude. Like it's crazy. So what he experiences is very different than what I think people even think that he experiences.
People are just dumb, bro. Like that's always been a thing. Like when people in America are like, "Oh, he doesn't want to be in the big market. He's not good in the clutch or whatever. Like he could never survive in New York or whatever the fuck. Like he isn't the most famous athlete in his country since he was like 18 years old, and has been dealing this forever. Like it was not going to make a difference. Same thing with like Yamamoto, and he wants to play with another guy, or he doesn't want to play with another Japanese player. You can't listen to any of this bullshit. He's going to Dodgers.
Real quick, all right, relax. No, he's not because there's Lil Wayne in the clubhouse. The winter meetings, like what are they doing there?
What do you mean?
Like what is it? I've never been.
Where?
Winter meetings.
The winter meetings.
Oh,
what are they doing?
It's just a big clusterfuck in the hotel lobby. Usually you get like former teammates of Dallas Braden will just be bumbling around and then you end up getting shit-faced at some local dive bar and then you come back and next thing you know, you wake up in a hotel room that isn't yours and next thing you know, you're walking down into the lobby and then you see the talking baseball guys are interviewing Aaron Boone and then Jeff Passan standing up on a crate doing TV spots and it's a lot of that. Scott Boras holding court. I remember that was what was that? Vegas?
MLB contact cruise there or whatever. Too.
Yep.
No, that was that. I thought that was San Diego. Was that Vegas?
That was Vegas when he stood up in front of that Christmas tree like Christ.
Yes. Yeah. He was legitimately on a milk crate.
Yeah.
Standing up in front of the Christmas tree in the middle of like every artery of the hotel came to this Christmas tree, and who's right in front of the Christmas tree? Scotty B dropping knowledge.
Yeah, he
was winter meetings when you guys were there and the Angels execs walked in the elevator. That
yes,
my favorite story.
Yeah, that was San Diego. That was San Diego. Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
None of you guys were there, like at all. No, nobody went.
No, he didn't go this year.
I'm here.
Yeah, Joe's in Nashville right now. He's actually in the lobby right now.
Yeah, it's his green screen right now.
Making a Kelenic video or something? Like he's gonna be so good for you guys, huh?
Hey, he's got a lot of potential, some of the most potential in the league. There's some guys with more potential, but he's probably up there with some of the most potential than the other guys with more potential. But I would say, a lot of upside with this guy.
Huge upside. So, all right, Max. Do you have any predictions on where Shohei is going to sign or when he's going to sign? You got any insight there?
Absolutely not. Zero insight. It will be a major league team. Even then, I could be wrong. I don't fucking know.
You could be wrong about that. Yeah.
Can I like besides the Angels, because that's obviously what like this Canada talk is floating around, and I'm kind of like, oh, let's see you do it. You won't, like, you know, I would be kind of sick. Or he's like, the states kind of suck. I'm going up north. Everyone's nice. They'll leave me alone. Like, you know, I don't know. That would be
incredible.
But
yeah.
If he just dominates a third country, like that'd be fucking insane.
I think that's probably what's going to happen at this point. That's where my heart's at.
But yeah, no, other than that, you know, happy holidays to you guys. I see you guys getting a lot of good reviews and stuff, and that's fucking awesome. And then Jarred getting an article written about him about being the next biggest star, the next fucking I don't know what. So
that's like
things looking great for you guys.
Isn't that insulting at this point though? That I've been doing this for like 16 years, and I'm just now on like the list of like, oh, this guy could pop off. He could be the next big thing.
Hey, bro, but that's how it is, bro. Unless you're like, you know, unless you're fucking making TikToks or fucking what's your max dumbbell press, like unless you're doing that, get in line, buddy.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah, that's facts.
No, that's fucking sick. You know, so happy holidays to you guys. I hope you guys are all in it for Shohei. I think all four of your teams, I think, honestly have a solid chance, and you know, let's just kind of see where he lands, and that'll be fun. Is there going to be a Shohei emergency pod?
Yes, if Shohei or Yamamoto sign, we will do an emergency pod. Yes.
Got it, man. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you guys all four solid shots. So
just be on the lookout for that, Max.
All right. See you guys.
I'll talk to you. Bye, Max.
Bye.
All right, that was Max. Baseball is Dead is sponsored by BetterHelp. You got to talk about BetterHelp, something that Max is probably going to need if Shohei does sign with a team that isn't the Angels, which is probably at this point, I would take the field. At this point, I'm probably going to take the field on that. I could be wrong. I don't know. But if it ends up being a team that's not the Angels, BetterHelp is going to come in handy for an individual like Max or someone that's upset about this. I actually would love to get back into therapy now that it's the off season. It's a great stress relief. It's very helpful. This time of the year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it. I know I do. I've always talked about that. This time of the year fucking sucks. But adding something new and positive to your life can counteract some of those feelings. Therapy can be a bright spot amid of all the stress and change, something to look forward to make you feel grounded, to give you the tools to manage everything that's going on. I personally have benefited from therapy, which is why I'd love to go back now that I've got some downtime. It's a little bit more difficult during the season, but now that it is the off season, I might look into some BetterHelp. You know, it's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who have experienced major trauma, etc. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suitable to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/baseball to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball. BetterHelp. Shout out to them. Appreciate you guys. All right. We should probably... I don't know how we've done an hour and a half already. I feel like we haven't even hit Jackson Chourio. 8-year extension. I don't know how this is coming up halfway through hour 2, but this was something that I don't want to call it groundbreaking, but this contract, I know that, you know, we've criticized contracts in the past where it was like, oh man, that seems a little premature to maybe sign on the dotted line. Like, that's not betting on yourself. I don't feel that way at all with this one. $142.5 million. If Chourio reaches all incentives and both club options are picked up. And I believe it'll go through his age 29 season. So he'll end up hitting free agency at a time where you already have 140 something million in the bank, and then you can have another big monster deal after that. I don't know how you guys feel about it, at least from like the Brewer side. Like, I think maybe he doesn't have the same pop, but he's been compared to a Ronald Acuña Jr. It's a gamble. I mean, if you pick up both options, you're shelling out over 140 million, but that could be well under what he's worth in terms of performance over the first 8 years of his big league career.
I mean, he's a consensus top 5 prospect in baseball, regardless of what prospect list you look at. And I think this deal is an easy decision from the Brewers' perspective, because here's how it works. If Chourio isn't a very, very good player, then the Brewers are probably screwed anyway or in a very difficult position in this next wave of talent that's coming for them, because he's one of the headliners, or maybe the headliner, maybe the next great Brewers player. And so to get him on a deal that could be literally one of the great values in the league, if he fulfills even 80 or 90% of his potential, is an easy decision for a team with their payroll limitations. And to your point, he's guaranteed $80 million. I think Passan said it's the largest guarantee to a player pre-debut in baseball history. And every previous example of this was a player who was multiple years older than Chourio is at the time. So to your point, he could get back out on the market at a time when, you know, he's already banked a significant amount of money in his career. Seems like a potential win-win.
Well, and they're banking on the power speed combo that, when you talk about Ronald Acuña, who just did what he did this season, is something that you've got to be really excited about for a Brewers fan perspective, right? When's the last time you had this type of player show up on your doorstep and you feel like you're going to be able to keep him here for the foreseeable future? Well, you've got almost a decade worth of that kind of talent or potential talent right here, right now. I mean, when you're getting the Acuña comps, that's one thing. When the numbers start to bear it out as well, I think that's something. I mean, there's a reason why you start to get those comps, right? The first 20-40 guy in minor league baseball since the fucking 50s or 60s or whatever. Like, the dude is legit. You just hope that, and I have to catch myself because I was going to say, you just hope that type of game translates. We are in that moment, though, where the game is with open arms waiting for a guy like him right now. You want to come up and hit homers? You want to come up and steal bags? You want to come up and just do awesome things on defense? Let's do it all. Let's do it all.
I know 80 million seems like a lot of money, and it is, but also a good reminder that for this guy to be worth $80 million to the Brewers, the threshold for that to play out is actually pretty easy to hit. Yeah. Like, to be worth $80 million over his next, what it was, 8 years. He could be like an average major leaguer or just somebody who is good, and this deal could be fine for the Brewers. Like, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. And he's like, what? He's
19.
Top five. Yeah. And a top 5 prospect. Do you think like everyone would accept this deal? Every top 5 prospect?
It's like Jackson Holiday and him.
Right. I feel like every team would make this deal if they had a prospect like top 5 ranked in baseball.
Well, so here's the deal though. It's an 8-year deal. If he spends 5 years in the big leagues, are you okay with that? What if for whatever reason he finds himself back in AAA after a struggle 2 months into his big league.
How many is he single digit games into his AAA career? He's single digit games.
I don't think he's played AAA.
He has not played
AAA.
Oh, 6 games.
No, yeah, he played 6 games. He got 24 plate appearances.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you've got him for the next 8, and you're okay with him being an average player, I would assume, if you have him for all 8 of those years, meaning you're getting 550 plus ABs next season, and then from that season on, and you're getting minimum average production is what you would hope for. I'm saying, is that a deal that you're still okay with if there's 2 years or so out of those 8 years where he doesn't hit the 250 plate appearance mark in the big leagues? Are you okay with that?
I think you have to be. I just don't think not to be dismissive. I don't think it matters from the Brewers calculation, because the only path to the Brewers being a great team and a playoff team is to have these sorts of players under contract at a well below market rate, right? So they have to hope the pathway here is that he becomes a great player and that they have him on a deal that looks as good as Corbin Carroll's deal does now. Remember, we were talking about, Corbin Carroll guaranteed himself whatever it was, $140 million or $135 million, like before really doing much of anything, like a couple hundred plate appearances in baseball. Great deal for him. Corbin Carroll would be on taking the first steps to a $400 or $500 million deal right now if he hadn't signed that. So like that's how good these deals can be for the team if they actually hit their potential. And like for a team that's under their self-imposed payroll constraints that the Brewers are, like you just have to hope that you're hitting on this guy and that you've correctly evaluated him. And everybody seems to be universally in agreement, right?
And if it was that big of a risk, you think the Brewers would have done that? These like the cheapest motherfuckers on earth.
Yeah.
Do we have a deal? Am I crazy for thinking that it is Acuña and it is Albies that have made it easier for teams to go this route? I know like the godfather of these deals is like Evan Longoria.
Mm-hmm.
The godfather's John Hart, Cleveland. Pay respects, dude. Continue.
But is there, I don't know, is there any thought to...
Well, what about who's the guy in the Red Sox? What's his name again? Who never made the majors?
Oh, Rusney Castillo.
Castillo.
That was international, though.
So, but hey, it could happen. Scott Kingery was another guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Scott Kingery, I wasn't even going to throw him out there because he wasn't somebody that they... Well, I don't know that he was somebody that they were looking as sort of a, like, this guy is going to change the face of Phillies baseball.
Yeah, he didn't get that much.
It was $21 million. Six-year, $21 million deal, right? Something like that. So it's not a 8 for 82. It's nothing like that, or an 8 for 100, whatever, if he lives up to him. And the
142 and a half.
Yeah,
I think the option years are 25 mil, and that's what years 9 and 10. It's
and he'll be 27.
And what would be the 20? And what would be the prime of his career?
27, 28 years old.
And also, by the way, that many years in the distance in terms of baseball revenues too. Like, I know the TV deals and stuff, that's a separate conversation and there's some murkiness there. Baseball is still a very profitable enterprise and it keeps going like that. Like this deal will only continue to look better as it ages for the team as well. Like,
I know we never talked about it, but it definitely wasn't as big of a story because it didn't end up happening or it didn't happen yet. But the whole Scott Boras wanting to renegotiate Bryce Harper's deal with the Phillies. What? Did you see?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he wanted to like negotiate like an extension for Bryce Harper. It's like, oh, he's
sure
like,
he does
outperform his contract. Like that defeats the whole purpose. Like it's $330 million. That's, you're good. You're all set. I don't think you're going to go broke. And the whole point was that Bryce wanted to have a manageable enough deal to where you could build a winner around him. And that's what Dave Dombrowski's been doing. I don't know. It's a side note, but $25 million for if you're Ronald Acuña Jr. light, because he doesn't have the same pop, but I mean the rest of his game, he's fast as fuck. Moved him to the outfield. He's a shortstop, and they moved him to the outfield. They don't know if he's going to be a center fielder, if he's going to play a corner outfield spot, but he's 19. He won't be 20 until the start of spring training. So
he was born 3 months before Zach Greinke made his debut.
I love a good Zach Greinke timeline point of reference.
Trippy, kind of.
So if he's like, you just check in 3 years from now, and you're going along the same path as a Ronald Acuña. You've already been in the MVP conversation a couple times. You're about to be an all-star, and you're 21 years old, 22 years old.
And you're in the Venezuela Winter League going off, as Ronald Acuña is doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check in on his numbers. Ronald Acuña, the Winter League, averaging, he has got a 469 average, a 1447 OPS plus, 15 for 32 with 3 homers, 3 doubles, and a triple.
I know that like players will play in like winter leagues for developmental reasons, or if they're working on something, or if they're coming back from an injury and they want to get some plate appearances in to feel like they've got their legs underneath them. Why the fuck is Ronald Acuña Jr. playing?
Because the fucking flex, dude. He's the king of flexing.
It is a massive point of pride. A massive point of pride.
Didn't he say that he like there was like a fight in the stands with his family in Venezuela, and he's like, I'm never playing Venezuelan baseball ever again, and then he just goes and plays there?
He retired.
Yeah.
He can't stop playing ball, dude.
Keep the family at home. No, and bro, come on, man. There's
if
money
you're the
to be
Braves,
made.
aren't you like, bro, like take a break. You just won an MVP.
Oh my God.
Like, you know.
I think the Braves can't tell him shit because it's like his contract is so ridiculous. Like they can't be like, no, Ronald, you can't.
Yeah, Ronnie. Dude. Yeah, Ronnie's out here. He's like, look at the deal I signed, bro. I got to make ends meet. I got a family. Like I'm not playing for pennies on the dollar for you. I gave 1% to the fund. I got to make that up in winter ball. What do you want me to do?
I feel like most teams would probably not let their players do this. I mean, he just got hit by a pitch the other day. People were freaking out like he got injured.
That's why I'm so confused. Like, why can't the Braves be like, all right, dude, like you hit a home run in Venezuela the night that they named you MVP. That was cool, but like, go home and take a nap. Like, what are you doing?
Like honestly though, back in the day, this was a way where players go home and make money in the offseason, right? And the leagues were just as competitive and just as favorable in terms of fans, attendance, economy for their respective areas. Like all that matters. It's a huge point of pride.
I could see Ronnie trying to boost the economy over there. Oh, Dallas. It's not breaking news, but it is something just popped up over here. The Pittsburgh Pirates are showing interest in Jack Flaherty, your boy. That is, hey, come on. You're in the news. What do you got?
It's good to hear. It's good to hear that they're considering adding a swab to the deck. It's nice. I don't know that gets you full mast, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Not yet, just the interest.
Yeah, I'm just the interest. Just a little tickle.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. We don't have any updates on Joey Votto to the Pirates just yet. That feels like something that's probably going to happen after the holidays.
We do need to take this time while the music's playing to congratulate former skipper Jim Leyland.
That one up to Leland, baby.
In his Hall of Fame introduction.
Ripping darts, buddy.
Yeah. That's good to see. If you haven't already
on Instagram.
Yeah. And I was going to say, if you haven't already, go back and watch the video of Jim Leyland absolutely undressing Barry Bonds during spring training. It is something else. It is good. But then you come back full circle and you got Barry at the end of it all saying, hey, congratulations. Well deserved. So it's an incredible honor to a man who is very beloved in the baseball world, Jim Leyland.
I'm not fucking with nobody. Don't fuck with me, no. I'm enough of this fucking shit. I'm in it because I'm the fucking manager of this fucking team. That's fine, man. You don't want to be here. Get your fucking ass out. I'll quit. I've been doing this. I don't give a I'll get it. Everybody know that you're fucking pissed off. So let's get the fucking shit over with right fucking now. I don't want to see it no more or go home. That's fucking fine. That's fucking there for 3 fucking years and I ain't getting. Excuse me, bud. Every fucking day. I made sure I did every fucking.
Yeah, he laid into Barry. He laid into
Hey,
Barry.
in related news, Barry left as a free agent.
He did.
Good move.
He did.
Well played,
to go
sir.
to the San Francisco Giants,
If
where
you're
we will
going
go into
to
the
San
Giants Mount Rushmore later in hour number 4 of the program.
Oh.
Oh!
Also, we'd be fucked up not to bring some attention to Joe West getting less than 5 votes. That's fucking bullshit. Friend of the podcast. Come on.
That's tough.
He umpired more games than anyone ever.
Yeah.
You tell me there's not another umpire in the Hall of Fame, and you're comparing him to other umpires. To me, he's probably most deserving umpire. To get less than 5 fucking votes, bullshit.
I don't give a shit about umpires, but I do have before we move off the ballot, Dallas, can somebody provide, how is there such a gap between the number of votes that Jim Leyland received and the number of votes that Lou Piniella received? Because on paper, their resumes really aren't that different. Like, they both won 1 World Series. They both captained a few other, like, playoff relevant, borderline World Series type teams. Like, what? If you don't have an answer, that's fine. But
no, I would venture to guess. I don't know, Jay. That's an interesting question. I mean, you know, because like the
6
reverence
votes or something like that.
Well, I was going to say the reverence for the individuals, like in the game. It's not like I know close friends of each of these individuals, but each of these guys are very well respected in the game. Whether that relationship is different with the individuals who have voting power or not, I don't know. Maybe that's where you find the separation. Because other than that, to your point about the
I don't
resumes,
really care, I guess, because I don't know either man. Not like pulling for them emotionally. I just, was curious.
Yeah.
Lou Piniella had a good run, man. I mean, we won the World Series with the Reds. He had that epic stretch with the Mariners. Kind of farted around for the rest of his career on the Cubs and Rays, but got to fart at the end.
My buddy Wirtzy, Mike Wirtz, he used to tell this story about how, like, he didn't talk to Lou much. When he did, wasn't really sure if Lou was even sure who he was talking to at the moment. And he had got sent down, and he's in Iowa, and Lou actually called down to the bullpen. It was like, "Hey, your Wirtz up, get him going." Wirtz is just nowhere to be found. Wirtz is in Iowa. Wirtz is not on the big league team. He's not in the bullpen, Lou. He is unavailable tonight. Michael Wirtz is going to be down tonight. Where's he at? You sent him down yesterday, Lou. You sent him down. All right. We'll get somebody else up then.
Wirtzy.
Just saw
Shout
this
out
tweet,
Mike
Jake.
Wirtz.
I don't love this. In an article from The Athletic, agents were asked if they thought Craig Breslow could turn around the Red Sox. Their responses: yes, got 2 votes. No, got 5 votes. And to be determined, got 9 votes. So basically, agents are just a bunch of salty bitches. That's what that's about. Only 2 agents were like, yeah, Craig Breslow can turn around the Red Sox.
Couldn't have been
Who are
anything
those?
to do with the fact that he was their 14th choice.
Yeah. I just and to top it all off, I just got a text from a Boston-based reporter, and this individual says, "Hearing anything? ? I'm not." Things are fucking hot for the Sox right now. Listen, keep doubting us. All those people out there that are like, "Ooh, Red Sox, they can't turn it around."
I know that there's been some strong interest, though, right? Or are you thinking about getting interested for sure?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what Shohei said? It said no leaks. No leaks.
Yeah, no leaks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
keep
just
your
playing by
fucking
the
mouth
rules.
shut. Yeah, keep your fucking mouth shut if you're the Red Sox. That's what they're doing. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I just can't see myself going through another season that's poor next year. I'll just switch to professional wrestling. I don't give a fuck.
No, that's why it's good you diversified yourself and have a national baseball podcast as well.
This is where I'm the most happy right now. This is I can talk about other teams. I don't have to talk about the Red Sox. They're just depressing. It's just a depressing state of affairs right now. Jake, how do you feel?
I think it's great that we can be here for you and Jake.
Thank you. How do you feel right now, Jake?
I mean, I think Craig can turn it around. They didn't ask me to vote, but I would have said yes.
Yeah. I mean, Lou Merlone put out a video the other day being like, hey, it's still early. Be patient. Like all these people saying Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Montgomery, like you were never going to get two of those guys. Be happy if you get one of those guys. I think we're just going to get Jordan Montgomery and just fucking pussyfoot to the, fourth place next year again. We're and we're not a 1 year turnaround. It
is weird, right? Because there's been like no trades ever yet. So if you're a Red Sox fan, that's encouraging. No one's traded. But every time anything goes up at any player, it's always like, well, the Braves are in on him. The Braves could get Snell. The Braves could get Cease. The Braves now, don't forget about Shohei. Anytime the Braves come up. So I'm actually the opposite as you.
Yeah, you're linked to everyone. I just saw they're linked to Cease, and they haven't been ruled out on Shohei, and I haven't seen the Braves linked to Yamamoto. Are the Braves linked to Yamamoto? Is that made up?
I haven't seen that.
Whatever.
But they got Marco Gonzalez. All
right, we hit on Shohei. We got Leland, Cease, whatever. Soto. I mean, whatever. We don't have to fucking. We did Chourio. We did Shohei. We did Kelenic. All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to hit on Soto before we get to Mount Rushmore and MVP, we can do that. It's really just a matter of, are the Yankees gonna stop hoarding their prospects that may or may not be good to pull the trigger on Juan Soto? Or is this going to be a situation where the Blue Jays swoop in and say, if you don't want to go the extra mile, we don't mind doing that?
If the reports from the Yankees minor league situation is that there has been some wires crossed, some mixed messaging, and maybe some overvaluing or devaluing of certain metrics that help analyze exactly what they have. And if you're Brian Cashman, you're probably the individual who has the most insight as to whether or not that is true and to what extent that might be true. And if you are far away from fixing those things, but you have some resources that could help you bring you a guy like Juan Soto, you probably go ahead and do that. You probably go ahead and make that move and then try to figure out what you need to do to shore up things in the minor league system to get yourself back to a place of prominence. I think that's a simple answer. I really do. No calls right now, but I do think that's a simple answer.
Do you think that the Blue Jays getting hot and heavy with Soto is going to result in the Yankees just biting the bullet and saying, fuck, we can't afford to have him not come here, but also be in our division?
It honestly feels like the Yankees recently have shown that they are more willing to go, nope, we'll see how that works out for them. Let's pivot, and we're going to go a different direction.
Yeah.
Feels like that's what they've been more willing to do. And that's what's pissing the Yankee fans off, is they've been more willing to try to find a more team-friendly answer to some of the questions that have obvious answers to them. Like I just said, if you have resources, if you feel like you have prospects to the point where the term stockpiled is getting thrown around, well, then you have to do something with them. Like, is it conceivable that they're all going to be impacting your big league roster sooner rather than later to the point of postseason productivity? Is that realistic? Or is utilizing 1, 2, 3, some of these guys to bring you a guy like Juan Soto who you feel like can be instant impact a more viable route? If you're the Yankees, isn't that what helped get you to the place of prominence? outside of the core four, you were not afraid to write a paycheck and bring in the soup du jour and start serving that dish up to everybody, right?
Unless they just view him as a rental. Like, I feel like a lot of teams they'd be smart to view him as a rental because he's telling you that, yeah, I'm going free agency no matter what.
This is the New York Yankees. This is the New York Yankees, Jared. Like, don't you like your chances of being able to woo this individual?
That draw is not there anymore.
Trust me, you're preaching to the choir. I feel the same way. I'm the first one to tell you that. So, but I'm speaking from a Yankee perspective. Like, don't we like our chances?
I think, well, they've got to put together a good year, right? Like, you bring in Soto, and you've got 1 year to show them what's up, and you guys finish in 4th place, and you've got stars like Aaron Judge getting booed off the field after hitting 62 home runs. He's gonna see that and be like, "Fuck this!" Like, I was just in San Diego. They're happy just to see us. I mean, like, we had a dog shit year, but they still packed the place, and the weather's great, and I like living there. Like, no one wants to live in New York City on purpose.
That's where the Cashman comments come into play. Like, is Giancarlo Stanton reminding Juan Soto, "Hey, buddy, if you're calling me and asking me how things have gone, well, I've been banged up here and there, and this is the kind of treatment you get. This is what happens. Is the guy who signs the deal, he will come out publicly and basically just tell you how feeble you are and how much we can't rely on you." Yeah. So, is that something that you're ready for? Is that something that you're willing to entertain? Possibly.
Yeah, Soto ain't got time for that bullshit. He's a Blue Jay, unfortunately. All right, let's break down the 2002 MVP races because the Giants Mount Rushmore, it's a clusterfuck. There's a lot going on. But that 2002 MVP race is also a clusterfuck, at least in the American League. Plenty of debate to be had. So without further ado, Jayhay!
What up, baby? Oh, this is good. We got 2 good ones for different reasons. Since we are 2+ hours into this podcast, I guess we'll try and be efficient here, but we'll give you all the good nugs. 2002 AL, let's start there. Because this is the egregious one. This is the one that everybody points to and is like, holy shit, how the fuck did Miguel Tejada win the AL MVP over, I don't know, like fucking throw a dart at the board and name that person. But primarily Alex Rodriguez. And it's a classic case. I mean, we'd be burying the lead if we said it's anything other than the fact that the Oakland A's were really, really, really good that year, and the Rangers were very bad. The A's went 103-59 and won the AL West. The Rangers went 72-90 and finished 31 games back and finished last in the AL West. And it's just a classic case of the MVP voters looking at team record as opposed to how productive or valuable or whatever the actual player was. Because before we get into the A-Rod Tejada stuff, I mean, it doesn't take an expert to tell you. Anybody who was around for this time of baseball remembers this. But the difference between these two teams wasn't A-Rod and Tejada. It was that the Texas Rangers had shitty ass pitching and the A's had awesome pitching. And that's why one of the teams was really, really good and one of the teams was really bad. The A's had a 3.68 ERA, which is number 1 in the AL, and I believe number 3 in Major League Baseball that season. The Rangers had a 5.15 ERA, which was the fourth worst in baseball. Dallas can remind us if anybody needs it, but that was the big 3. That was Hudson, Mulder, Zito. The money, look at them. I would tell you to look at the movie Moneyball, but we all know from having joked last time that they're not in that movie. Neither is Miguel Tejada. But that was the difference between these two teams. The Rangers were trotting out guys who made like 15, 20, 25 starts for them and had ERAs of like 5.5. That's how bad the pitching was on this team. But specific to the MVP between Tejada and A-Rod, of all the people who received a vote in the AL MVP, Tejada ranked 9th in B-WAR. 9th. And he won the MVP. 3 people received first place votes. Tejada 21, A-Rod 5, and Alfonso Soriano 2. If you look specifically at A-Rod and Tejada, A-Rod had a higher on-base percentage, 392 to 354. He had a higher slugging percentage, 623 to 508. He had a higher OPS, 1.015, to 861. So his OPS was 150 points higher. They were playing the same position, by the way. A-Rod hit 57 homers. He would never hit more homers in his career than he hit this season. 57 homers, led the league. Tejada hit 34. So there was a 23 home run gap. The gap between them and home runs was a good season by somebody else. 142 RBI for A-Rod, 131 for Tejada. So it wasn't even an RBI weird thing. Adjusted OPS, 158 to 128, and B-WAR, 8.8 to 5.7. That's a 3.1 WAR gap. That's an all-star caliber season. Just another player puts up a 3-win season. So here's the interesting thing about this, though. This is why this segment's going to be fun over time. Because for as bad as this MVP vote was, I went back and looked at all the AL MVP votes in the wild card era, just use that as an arbitrary cutoff, 95 through the present. This is not even one of the 5 worst in the AL in terms of gap between the winner's WAR and the highest person's WAR who should have won. There are like 6 worse MVP votes by that standard, just in the AL, in the wild card era.
We should try to keep track of, and if we could settle on a number and not try to stretch it and let everybody in, but yes, God bless your soul. How many other viable MVP winners were there before we get to the actual winner? So in this case, you've got A-Rod, you've got Manny.
If you move past A-Rod as the obvious candidate, you have like as many as like a dozen candidates, like 8 to 12 candidates who could have been the MVP if Miguel Tejada is being considered as the MVP. Like, you don't even have to get off the A's roster. Eric Chavez basically put up an identical offensive season to what Miguel Tejada did, and did it while playing, as you know, elite corner defense at third base, while Miguel Tejada was kind of just like, I'm just a shortstop, like I'm here. It is egregious, and I'm not trying to downplay how egregious it is, because A-Rod should have this MVP, but it's also not even that egregious within the context of all the bad votes that happened in the last 25 years of voting, which is kind of crazy. Just in the AL. The 5.7 WAR by Tejada is the 3rd worst winning total since 2000 in the AL. I'm not going to spoil the worst ones because we'll eventually get to those. But I think people could figure it out if they really, really wanted to. But yeah, that's the breakdown of the AL. Really bad, and just a function mostly of the fact that one played on a good team and one played on a bad team. Not the last time that we'll see that.
And it's just another example of baseball screwing over Alex Rodriguez for no fucking reason, setting him up as a scapegoat.
It's true.
And burying him in the dirt. And he's been treated very poorly by baseball. And this is another good example. So I'm glad you shined some light on that.
He would win the MVP the very next season. 03 would be his first MVP. This was his 02 was his second season in Texas. After leaving as a free agent, he would win again in 2005 and 2007 with the Yankees. But this was his second runner-up finish at this time. So incredible season. 57 homers and 142 RBI from a shortstop. And he won the Gold Glove that year too. Crazy. Didn't win. NL. This is interesting for a different reason, because you basically have 2 legendary seasons clashing, and one of them getting essentially no support when it comes to the MVP, but he won the Cy Young. So this is peak Barry Bonds going up against peak Big Unit.
Yes! Oh, God.
Yeah, which is, in some ways about as good as it gets. The MVP voters didn't see it that way. Barry Bonds was a unanimous MVP selection this year. He received all 32 first-place votes. Randy Johnson, if you factor in all the other voting, he only finished 7th in the voting. He finished behind Pujols, Lance Berkman, Vlad Guerrero, Shawn Green, and Jeff Kent. But looking back on it, it's very, very obvious that he's the second best candidate, and it's not even particularly close. But before we get to So let's go through Unit's season and why it's deserving of even being in this conversation. He put up over 10 WAR as a pitcher. Okay. So this was, by wins above replacement, the single best season of Randy Johnson's career. So
he won 25 games, didn't he?
24-5 with 24. A 2.32 ERA, 260 innings pitched, and 334 strikeouts. So this is, I think we're all on the same page that Randy Johnson is one of the 3 greatest pitchers that any of us have watched pitch in our lifetimes. And this is probably the best. And he's one of the 5 or 10 best pitchers ever. But I'm just saying, in terms of guys we've actually seen, and this was probably his best campaign, or at least one of his 2 best campaigns ever. It was the 4th of his 4 straight Cy Young seasons with Arizona. And unfortunately, what's interesting is that, like, you know, we've already done the Kershaw season where he won the MVP. Randy Johnson, during his epic 4-season run, basically got no real MVP support. He finished 15th, 17th, 11th, and 7th in the MVP votings over those 4 seasons, which in hindsight feels shockingly like a shocking miss.
Well, but
because the Diamondbacks were good in a lot of those seasons too.
That's how far away we were from entertaining on a consistent basis the notion that a pitcher could be the most valuable player. Because what we were seeing across the board offensively in this era of our game, we were like, we're more than happy letting the dudes who dominate on the mound just be recognized with the Cy Young Award, because what we're seeing offensively, like I wonder now, Jayhay, it's interesting. These seasons right here, if you take Shohei Ohtani's season, his best MVP season, any one of the 2 he's been voted unanimously in, and you plug him into this conversation, how does that unfold? Because you've got a guy doing things that nobody else can even wrap their fucking head around offensively. And then you got that same dude doing that same thing on the mound. And now in walks Shohei Ohtani, a dude who's like, yeah, no, I can do that. Oh, no, I could do that too. Actually, I'll probably do it as good as both of you.
Well, okay. So I'm going to pump your brakes right there, because let's not be disrespectful of these 2 fucking legends, because Shohei Ohtani really ain't hitting at Bonds' level, and he ain't pitching at Randy Johnson's level. He's doing both of those things at levels we've never seen before, but these are the best seasons. I know what you're getting at, because how would you value those 3? And I don't fucking know the answer.
Right.
I mean, it's either, just crazy. I guess it's either Bonds or Ohtani, I guess. But it's just interesting because to not have received any, like, I think what we're going to learn in this segment across time, depending on how long it goes, is that the 90s were an awful, awful time for MVP voting. And what probably should have happened is that the pitchers who were thriving within that era, namely Unit, Maddox, and Pedro, and really actually Roger Clemens too, should have received more MVP consideration in those seasons than some of the atrocious MVPs that were given out that we're going to get to that are way worse than Miguel Tejada over Alex Rodriguez. I can't wait to get to those. Anyway, Randy Johnson, 10.7 B-WAR, the only seasons by an NL pitcher in the live ball era that were graded out as better than that is 1985 Doc Gooden, 1972 Steve Carlton, 1920 Grover Pete Alexander, and 1968 Bob Gibson. Those are the only seasons better. That's how good Randy Johnson's season was. Unfortunately, he ran up against Barry Bonds at his peak. And here's, like we did with Ted Williams, this is like it's like the steroids version of Ted Williams, I guess. It is this season, Barry Bonds put up 11.7 wins above replacement. In the NL history, modern era, since 1900, the best seasons by WAR by a position player. Rogers Hornsby in 1924, then Barry Bonds in 01 and Barry Bonds in 02. So this is one of the 3 greatest seasons in NL history by a position player. He hit 370, 582, 799. That's an OPS of 1.381. That 582 on base percentage is the 2nd highest on base percentage ever in a single season, AL or NL. The only one higher is himself in 2004. That .799 slugging percentage is the 5th highest single season slugging percentage ever. It's just Bonds and Babe Ruth. And the OPS 1.381 is number 2 all time behind only his 2004 season. He was walked 198 times in this season, and he was intentionally walked 68 times.
568.
Both of those are the number 2 ever, again, to his 2004 season, where he would sort of just break baseball.
232, 120. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But he was on his way to breaking baseball this season, and in many ways did. And while I would love to say and be argumentative that Big Unit had a real candidacy, what he had a candidacy for was getting more credit for second place, or finishing second on the ballot or third place on the ballot instead of 7th, which was totally disrespectful of his season. Barry Bonds deserved to be the unanimous MVP this season, and it's one of the greatest seasons in National League history. And the only guys that really top it are him. And in baseball history, it's just him and Babe Ruth. It's an incredible, incredible season.
So basically just him.
And we were alive. And we were alive
George.
for it. That's what's fucking cool.
We saw it. Been there. Done that. Yeah, Barry's the GOAT. I did see
582.
So 582
on base percentage.
On base?
It's just like it's a fucking stupid number. 582.
That's that was the stretch where not only leading the league in walks, but intentional walks. Like that was where it was just like, dude, like, please just put him on second if we have to, but we're not letting him fucking swing the bat.
I would guess that there wasn't even a player in baseball this season that had a 25 game sample of any stretch this season where they had a 582 on base percentage.
He had 268 walks that year, which is double what the number 1 walk guy was last year. He doubled it. Crazy. Juan Soto has twice as many walks as Juan Soto.
Go to 04, Joe. Go check out his. Check out his 2004.
He had more intentional walks that year than.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't. Juan Soto had more walks than intentional walks.
How old was he in 04? 36?
39.
No, in 04.
Yeah, this 02 season, he was in his age 37, 04, age 39.
He was 39 in 04?
Yeah, the 4th of his 4 straight MVPs and 7th overall.
Maybe steroids work, actually.
Yeah, he had a 609.
Maybe it is an advantage.
He had a 609 on base percentage in his age 39 season. Dude, Barry Bonds was playing in his age 42 season in 2007 and had a 480 on base percentage in 477 plate appearances. 480. He was like peak Votto as a 42-year-old.
Go look like that. That's just one of the
480.
It's one of the inexplicable stat lines on a baseball reference page. Is because when you look at other guys like we've been talking about, Bob Feller, Ted Williams, Yogi Berra, like when there's a gap after a year like they just had, you usually see gone to war. Or not available, did not play. Was it like, what? He's 42 years old. He's leading the fucking league in on-base percentage, and then he's gone. Gone.
Yep. Didn't even get an offer. Didn't even get a contract offer the year after.
Hit 270. Hit 270 with almost 500 plate appearances.
Because he was being tried for treason. Or whatever the fuck he was. What did he was? He was getting indicted.
It was treason. He was executed. Barry Bonds is no longer living.
You remember that? Well, they showed the first first meeting from Guantanamo. It was
dude. Barry Bonds' on base percentage at age 42 was higher than any on base percentage Mike Trout has ever put up.
That's crazy.
Well, Jay, it's almost 500. Jayhay, like, come on.
I understand. That's the peak of Mike Trout's powers on base percentage wise. Never touched what Barry did, as he was a fucking wheelchair candidate.
Yeah,
they didn't get a contract the following year.
2 years older than 2 years older than me right now.
Why didn't the Giants bring him back? Like, I get the rest of the league wanting to blackball him, but why did the Giants partake in the blackball?
It was because of the court shit, bro. He was getting convicted of 1 felony count of obstruction of justice.
Perjury. Yeah.
I also, like, we have to remember where they were in their life cycle too. That team sucked. at that point. And I think they were just kind of looking to turn the page on the experience. Like, we all know the Giants benefited from having Barry Bonds in an enormous way, but you're also talking about you're going on like a decade basically of that experience and like 15 years of him being in your uniform.
Let me ask you this. You want a 45-year-old Barry Bonds in your lineup or Travis Ishikawa?
Dude, I'm not talking about, I wanted the Indians to sign him at the time. I was like apoplectic that like nobody was offering him a contract. And I was like, I don't care where you fucking play the dude, just sign his ass. I'm not saying that they wouldn't have been a better team with him. I'm saying that they, in 2007, the year we're talking about, they were coming off of a last place finish. They won 71 games. That was Bruce Bochy's first season. They just turned the page on the Felipe Alou era. And like, they had a new wave of talent coming, as we learn soon, right? Like that, I believe 2007 was Matt Cain's first real season. 2008 would be Lincecum's first breakout campaign. Like I think they were just ready to turn the page, fairly or unfairly. Like it was just over.
Well, no, and my whole point was, like when I said about Travis Ishikawa, like I love me some Ish, not knocking the dude at all. He was a part of those runs into the postseason for the Giants. 3 years later, Barry Bonds is 42 years old with a 480 on base, hitting 270, almost 280. And 3 years later, the start of the Giants dynasty kicks off, 2010. Like that's how close Barry Bonds was to still being that kind of an impact player. Where if you're asking me, after what we saw numerically, statistically, after 2007, that Barry Bonds could still be a viable player 3 years down the road from that, I would have to tell you yes. I believe Barry Bonds could absolutely have helped the San Francisco Giants and been a part of their dynasty run.
I don't think projecting a 45-year-old to be helping your team is... Nobody was really doing that, and I'm having a hard time blaming them for not doing it.
Testing got tougher,
I just fucking did it.
Yeah, also 08 was kind of the year, like the year that we're talking about, that like the year after Barry. Barry's last year was 07. Everyone was like, why didn't he play in 08? 08 was the year that everyone kind of got caught. So it's almost
maybe that's why he didn't play.
He fucking said he was down to play for league minimum and no one offered him a contract.
Yeah. I'm not saying that he didn't want to play, but I'm just saying if he did, the story might have ended a little bit differently.
He would have been caught doing steroids if he played. That would have been weird.
Well, he never got caught.
Yeah,
that's positive.
His legacy might be tarnished if he played that 1 year. He could have got caught doing steroids.
Yeah,
Thank God he dodged a bullet there.
He did. I believe him. Which brings us to the Giants Mount Rushmore. Wow. The Giants Mount Rushmore. I feel like I went over this a lot, and I don't think it really registered in my brain just how much it was going to blow my mind, like what the pool to pick from was, because I think when you lay it all out, and we've done this in the past where, you feel like all eras have to be represented and things like that. But then with the Giants, there are just some players where it doesn't really matter what the era is. Like, for example, I'll just tell you that Mel Ott is my number 3. But like Mel Ott is the Ted Williams of most other franchises. And he's the number 3 here. So like, let that sink in, where it's like you think the Giant, and we're going New York Giants and San Francisco Giants, where it's the whole franchise. So you go back, you have Willie Mays and Barry Bonds are your automatics. So then it's like, all right, man, wow, we're already down to like 2 spots. But then you think about it, you're like, Mel Ott, if in any other franchise, is most other franchises, like that's their number 1. Like he has a career wins above replacement well north of 100. There's not many players who ever played this game who can say that. Like he is like franchise numero uno in a lot of other places, and he's your number 3 in San Francisco. So really, it begs the question of who's your number 4? Am I wrong? Does anyone else have for their first 3? Did you go outside of Mays, Bonds, and Ott?
I view 3 and 4 more as like a pairing as opposed to dividing a line between 3 and 4, but I have Mel Ott as my 3. Yes.
Okay. And you obviously have Mays, Bonds?
Yes. You referenced Mel Ott's wins above replacement. He's between Ricky Henderson and Mickey Mantle on that list. So please just like digest that, listeners, because that's to Jared's point. That is who we're talking about. I know there's an old-timey bias on these lists for us sometimes because we like to represent the eras, as Jared said. Mel Ott's record is unimpeachable and cannot be left off of this list. He's also a World Series winner, so you can't hold that against him either. He won a World Series for the franchise.
Dallas, you're awfully quiet over there for a Bay Area guy.
Well, it's been for me, it was between Mel Ott, Christy Mathewson.
I agree.
Yes. The only other reason is because it's a position player and it's a pitcher.
That's exactly where I struggled. Because like my 4, it's
because they say Christy Mathewson never won a Cy Young, Jared. You know that's what they're saying. And I try to say it's because he was facing a guy named Cy Young. That might have had something to do with
it. So I'm with you, Dallas. I struggled at 3 because like I needed my 4 to represent the 3 rings era in the 2010s. I needed that, like that era can't not be represented for me. So whether you agree or disagree, my 4 is Buster Posey because that you can't have an era like that and have no one from it represented. So like my 3 was going to be between Ott and Mathewson, and I went with Ott. So like Mathewson doesn't make the cut just because of the championship run. And Buster Posey might be, the 12th best player in Giants franchise history, but how do you not represent that era?
I think you have to. And there's so like my thing with Christy Mathewson was what did he, what was he doing in the postseason? Because with Bumgarner, that's a lot of the history for him, right? That's where the love from Mad Bum comes in, is what this dude did in the postseason. The incredible. I just kind of want to address that if we can real quick. 52 2/3 innings over that 2014 postseason for Bumgarner. 45 punch outs in those 52 2/3 innings. He had 6 walks. He had a 1.03 ERA. Opponents hit 153. He had 2 CG shut pieces. Christy Mathewson, in his 11 postseason starts, 5 shutouts. Now, I'm going to say this number here, and I might have to repeat the number I just said. 101.2 innings pitched. That's right, 101.2 innings pitched in 11 starts. 11 starts. You're going, Dallas, that's over 10 innings.
That's half a season in a third of a season's worth of starts.
And that's averaging just north of an inning or a fucking 10 innings an outing, right? Like that's just stupid. Go ahead, Jay. What do you got?
No, I was going to say, you can make a case that Christy Mathewson is the greatest postseason pitcher in baseball history.
I mean, that was where my heart was going, was for that. You've got the championship. Hold on. You said 101 2/3 innings pitched. It comes with a 0.97 ERA, man. I wasn't. Yeah, no, 0.97 ERA. And how about this though, Jayhay? 75 knocks, 48 punch outs. So in 101 innings or 101 2/3 innings or whatever, still able to limit the traffic via the base hit, but was not punching people out. Like he was not just undressing folks. So there was some utilization of the defense, but it wasn't that pure, utter, just otherworldly domination to that regard. But when you look at the sub-1 ERA, also you're like, well, fuck, boy's getting outs. And I had a tough time not entertaining, for however brief it might have been entertaining, the Dominican Dandy. That was a guy whose name I threw out when we started to have this conversation early. And this is where the romance comes into play. The first Latin American inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Juan Marichal, the Dominican dandy. Come on. We got to leave him on the fucking street corner?
Well, you're also leaving Willie McCovey. You're also leaving two of the most successful managers in baseball history on the sidelines. Not that I would ever prioritize a manager over a player. You're leaving multiple Cy Young pitchers or Hall of Fame pitchers out in Carl Hubble and Amos Russi. I know he sort of gets overlooked because it's not a championship era. You're leaving Will Clark off this list, who's probably the greatest Giant of the 80s. In my opinion, I don't think you can leave Christy Mathewson off this list, and I respect the idea that you have to represent the most recent championship era. But the way I would push back on that is that this franchise has had many championship eras, not many in San Francisco, which is fair, but a lot of championships. And I struggle with who I identify with that era more between Posey and Bumgarner, and I know that Posey was probably the more like consistent presence across it. And I know that like Lincecum being there and Kane and stuff like that, like it wasn't
he's got
always
an MVP.
And he won the MVP for sure. And he's probably going to the Hall of Fame or could go to the Hall of Fame in a way that Bumgarner's never going to the Hall of Fame.
He's the fucking owner these days, boys. Let's not forget that.
And like Mad Bum wasn't Mad Bum until like 12-14, whereas Posey was more 10-12-14.
No, but I know you will tell me the truth. If you close your eyes and you think Giants postseason run, the guy who you think Mad Bum. So that's what I'm conflicted about. And ultimately, Christy Mathewson he's not a great pitcher that it's shucks, we got to leave off the list like Juan Marichal, with all due respect to Marichal. Christy Mathewson is an inner circle player in baseball history. And I just can't prioritize the 3 titles era over leaving this guy off. 1905 World Series winner, 2-time Triple Crown, 3-time ERA title. And if you like wins above replacement, he ranks between Greg Maddux and Randy Johnson all time.
Oh my God.
That's who we're fucking talking about here.
Does everybody have Christy Mathewson on their list?
I do. My 4.
Jared?
I do.
I don't.
Jared?
No.
Good.
No,
okay.
Who do you have? Joey?
Do you have Mel Lott on your list?
Yes.
Wow, that's kind of tough. After all this shit you talked about Babe Ruth and how you couldn't fucking play today, then you get a guy from
that era,
from the 1900s.
It's a little bit after that. He's better than Babe Ruth too.
Joey, who's your list?
All of them?
Yeah,
I'm gonna start with
Mel Ott played until the fucking 40s, dude.
So
the late
because he was playing against mechanics,
right? Like where you draw
he was
the line?
playing against milkmen. It's
The
because he was
40s,
playing
you know,
against
the 40s.
part-timers.
No, Babe Ruth made his name.
Yeah, you know the fucking
in
40s
20s.
when everyone was watching. We all know the 40s was way different than the 20s.
Joey, it was the 40s.
Robinson.
It's specialized, right? You had kids playing
you ever
travel
heard
ball all
of,
year round.
Players of color before.
Yeah, I don't think Mel Ott did.
Yeah, he did. He played past the color barrier. Yes, he did.
How much?
A couple of years.
If you're asking about me, I'm gonna pick Willie Mays first.
Good pick.
Okay.
Because, come on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I'm not gonna put Barry Bonds on here.
What?
Get
Because
the
he's a
fuck out of
fucking
here right
scumbag,
now.
cheating
Get
piece
the
of
fuck
shit,
out of
dude.
here right now. You're high.
What?
You're not allowed to have a Giants Mount Rushmore without him on there.
I just did. I left him off.
No.
I left him off. All right, well, if I'm
No.
not allowed, I guess I'll pick 5 players. I'll put an asterisk on his fucking face, so I'll have 5 players. Because Dallas says I can't.
Jake, just leave Joey off the graphic entirely.
Yeah, you can't. You are going to get absolutely destroyed if you put out a Giants Mount Rushmore without Barry Bonds on it.
He's on. It's asterisk. I can put 5.
No.
And I have asterisk one.
I refuse to put out a graphic that has an asterisk next to Barry Bonds' name.
Good thing you don't do the fucking graphics, buddy. I don't think you know Photoshop, Buster.
Speaking of Buster.
Barry. Yes, and I am putting Buster on my fucking list because he was the captain and he won 3 fucking World Series as the fucking captain, and they made a rule after him because he got his leg fucking shattered in half for the squad, won an MVP, And when I think of Giants, I think that era, obviously, way more successful than Barry Bonds' era. So I'm putting Buster on mine.
Good. It's a good pick.
All right, so you got Buster, you got Mays.
And
everybody
then
else is Mel Ott, and then who else?
I got Willie Mays, Buster, Mel Ott. Oh, I need one more.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Fuck. Maybe I shouldn't have done Barry like that. Well, then have you guys all used your 4? I need to be convinced.
Yeah.
Everyone said their 4?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more.
There you go. Well, I'll go Christy Mathewson is the easy answer. I mean, come on. The guy, if you're going to put Mel Ott in, you got to put Christy Mathewson. These two are like, just look at their numbers. If you sort for the top wars of all time, they're top 20 baseball players of all time.
Yeah. How many Jayhay, you would know. How many players roughly would you say have a career WAR over 100? It can't be more.
I thought we looked at this and it's like around 20 or something like
20,
that.
25.
Well, I was going to say 36.
36.
I thought that's what I thought.
It's 30. It's 32 pitchers and hitters
combined.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Warren Spahn is
maybe
it's fucking 4 off.
Well, no, I'm used to looking at them pitchers and hitters separated, so total makes sense.
I can get that. Hold on.
Yeah, I would say they're like position players.
Well, hold on. So who's Jayhay? Your official 4 are Willie, Barry,
yes,
Christy,
and Mathewson, yep,
and Mel,
yep.
All right, and Jarred's are Willie, Barry, Mel, and
Buster.
Joey has Willie,
on your eBay.
Kapler.
who do you have?
I got Willie
Angel
Mays,
Pagan,
Buster Posey,
Marco
Christy
Scudero,
Mathewson, Mel Ott, Barry Bonds, Asterisk.
Jock Peterson.
All right. Well, I'm gonna.
Hey, how about this? Wait, want to think out the box? First female coach on the Giants. Why not put her on there? If you really cared.
Yeah. All right, so everyone's in. One last note before we get the fuck out of here.
Dawson do his fucking thing.
I haven't done my 4.
What is your 4?
Yeah, you did 3. So who's your 4?
Walter Haas.
Walter Haas.
Everyone is just scrambling to Google who that is.
Let me guess. He's from Stockton, California.
Yeah. Nope. Walter Haas. Let's see. Walter Haas. Okay, still going. Trying to find where he is in the all-time Giants wins above replacement. He's still, I'm at 17, still don't see him. 19.
I almost want to let you keep doing this, but I don't. It's a futile exercise.
Is he a fictional character?
No, he's very real.
Walter Haas.
This is an is it
the guy
San
from The
Francisco
Natural
troll?
This is the guy from The Natural. Am I right?
Well, Jayhay, you got it right.
Yeah, thanks.
It's not a troll.
Oh,
it is a little tongue in cheek, but Walter Haas, former owner of the Oakland Athletics, is the man responsible, or largely considered responsible, for the reason the San Francisco Giants are still in San Francisco today. In the early 90s, there was a dispute over territory rights. There was a conversation about the San Francisco Giants potentially packing up and moving to Florida. Walter Haas, owner of the Oakland A's, said, that just doesn't sit right with me. Like, I enjoy the banter and the camaraderie, if you will, in baseball. And I think that there's something to having 2 markets or 2 teams in this market here. So what do we got to do? Sign over territory rights to keep them here? What do we got to do? No problem. I'll do it. And there's a lot of, questions about why that happened and how it happened. And I'm not here for all that. I'm just here to remind you that former owner of the Oakland Athletics, Walter Haas, in granting those territorial rights is what largely led to the San Francisco Giants remaining in the Bay. So while we do acknowledge the historical presence of the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants, this very well could have been a Florida Giants thing, but it's not. And that's because of Walter Haas, who, if you're a 10, 12, 14, 3-ring type of fan, you might not be that fan if it wasn't for old Wally and the boys and girls of the Haas family.
Big Haas.
So you go ahead and throw Walter Haas on your San Francisco Giants.
Save the Giants. Why don't they got your back like that, dude? They forgot.
Mm-hmm.
They forgot that the A's saved the Giants, and now the Giants are just quiet over there. They're like, yeah, let them go.
Oh, Joe.
They can't all be honorable like Walter Haas.
Yeah. All right. Wow. What a meaty episode.
What a podcast
today. Yeah, that was huge. I saw some people, Jayhay said that you should pick the year for your segment. It shouldn't be randomized. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far.
Yeah. I mean, we picked some good years randomly.
Yeah, let's just
I don't
keep
like
going.
that. Yeah.
You want it to be randomized, Dallas? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I should pick.
Yeah, because then you start to lean into reasons why you want to go this year. Oh, well, I'd like to get to this, but I'll do that next week. I'm going to do this year. Like, just hit them with it.
I hear what you're saying. All right.
Whoa.
The random year on next week's Baseball is Dead. The Jayhay will examine the AL and NL MVP voting is 1952. Who the fuck? Let's see.
Oh my, 1952.
Oh, that's a great year for the hobby. Great year for the hobby.
Bobby
Shantz and Hank Sauer were our MVPs that year. That's going to be a social media darling. Yep, that'll be good. We'll break down Hank Sauer of the Cubs and Bobby Shantz of the Philadelphia Athletics winning the MVP. Wow. 1952.
1952. We'll see if someone got dogged that year.
I have one final thought, if you don't mind.
Please.
Cutting room floor on that Giants Mount Rushmore. Just want to give some love to Willie McCovey, who, I mean, for me was a hard cut just right there with Marichal. But just for context, B-War career equal to Joey Votto, and the only players ever to be walked intentionally in a single season more than Willie McCovey was in 1969 is Barry Bonds.
Wow.
He was as feared as they get in his era. So tip of the cap to Willie McCovey, not on the Rushmore, but great player and a great man.
Yeah, in the cove for sure.
You got a body of water. Yeah, recipes. Joe, any final thoughts?
Well, I just saw that Dave Roberts just said that Mookie Betts is going to be full. Okay, sorry. Go. You should find out. My thoughts, your final thoughts.
No, go ahead. It's really.
I was going to break the news, but
these are our final thoughts.
You already know it, so who cares?
Go ahead. Yeah. No, go ahead.
But I just heard that he's going to play second base.
Wow. Dave Roberts says Mookie Betts is our full-time second baseman? What? That's crazy. I mean,
you know what that
means?
You know what that means?
Of the best. Wouldn't you rather have, if you're going to have an excellent defender, wouldn't you rather have them in right field than second base?
You cut out.
Wouldn't you rather, if you have an excellent defender, wouldn't you rather have them in right field than second base?
Yeah, me personally, yes.
So now they have Cody Bellinger.
They're greasing the skids for an Alex Verdugo return. Alex Verdugo is being traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers from the Boston Red Sox in exchange for Gavin Lux. What? That's crazy. You never know. You never know what could happen at the winter meetings. You never know what could happen at the winter meetings. So, Dallas, any final thoughts here today?
No, I don't want you to steal them. I'm just going to keep them to myself.
Go ahead. Say it.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
What are you going to say?
I got nothing to say.
You have no thoughts?
No, I really have nothing to say.
All right. Jake's takes?
I'm just really pumped to see where Yamamoto ends up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll be back next week with the 19. Wait, do we know? Yeah, we'll update you on what the Rushmore is. We don't fucking know right now. There's no way to know. Do you know, Jayhay?
I know, it's Dodgers.
Breaking news. Next week, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers as your Mount Rushmore segment. Plus, stay tuned for the 1952 American League and National League MVP debates. You won't want to miss that. Wake up your grandfather. It's time to have him fully justified for his hot takes from 1952. We'll be back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you then.
We gone.